One more wine, one more whiskey, and we just kept the car in park and dim the headlights so we see the stars. Let them tell us where we should start. And I'm scared as hell because there's no way to know how this goes. But I can't help but say I promise to give you my all. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. The sight of you, it makes me dizzy. And when you're gone, I miss your face. Tonight I'll meet you in our favorite place. And just can't let this wait one more day. But I'm scared as hell, and there's just no way to know how this goes. And I can't help but say, trusting why you are so beautiful. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. But it might break me.
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is gonna be
Oh,
able to follow
no.
up. Talking
You
about
let
jumping
him
over to
do.
the Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Va, ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our Opinion Outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, he just got eviscerated.
He's not dead.
Now he's dead.
Holy cow! I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now. This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Hebot going absolutely massive.
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, hello and welcome to the Overwatch European Expanse. My name is Warren Jugglegod Hammond, and today I am joined on the mic by Dividing. How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing quite well, Jugglegod. I'm super excited because today we get to take you through what is the end of the Iberian region of the Overwatch European Expanse. All these teams have been fighting over the last week to try and muscle through this group. It has been really tough, but a few teams have risen to the top, and we're going to be looking at them today.
Yeah, that we are. We are going to be taking a look at panas, ganas, and Unplugged. Both of these teams right now are undefeated in the group stage. panas, ganas is 4-0, whereas Unplugged is 3-0 right now. So both of these teams really looking to cement their top standing in this division, because we know that the top two teams in this group are going to go on to the bracket or to the playoff stage. So they both really want this win today.
They 100% want this win, and looking over at the bracket right now, panas, ganas is probably going to be okay either way. Even if they win or lose at 4-1, that should be enough to net them a top 2 spot in this group. But Unplugged are in a bit of a sticky situation here. If they end up losing this and then also lose to Enzonix later today, that would drop them down to 3-2 overall. And especially that match against Enzonix, that could allow Enzonix to jump them. But they have to take care of things over in the other game going on right now between them and Red Lynx. So if we end up in a situation where panas, ganas win and Enzonic win in round 4, we could be going to a round 5 game with win or go home implications.
That is a good point. And you know, want to take a brief moment to talk about these lineups, because there's definitely some standout players for each of these teams. Gavi on Unplugged was a part of Contenders Trials in 2020, and we have in panas, ganas, Toniki is a very, very prominent, probably the top Spanish streamer for Overwatch. So a couple of very exciting players to look out for today during this matchup.
It says on the bracket sheet that Toniki throws for content, and so that will be a lot of fun, I think, as we get started on, I believe Oasis is going to be our first map. It's actually a really, I think the Overwatch team does a great job with this on all their control maps, but it really is going to allow us to see just what these teams have up their sleeves for the rest of this series. They can run a lot of different things on a lot of different maps of Oasis. There's the very open skies and long sight lines of things like Gardens and City Center, and then you have University that's a lot more closed in and lends itself to more close range brawly type comps. So I like doing control first because it really lets us see what each of these teams excel at initially in the first parts of the game.
That's right, it certainly does. You know, it's like getting a little miniature bracket or like a miniature tournament right there in the very first game. You know, it's you get to see at least a couple of maps and a couple of different looks from each team. So you're absolutely right. That will be exciting. Oasis going to be our first map in this best of 5 series. So,
it seems.
oh wow, we got debated apparently
we've been
here in the
debated.
casting booth. Yeah,
And so is our production, because I can see the little screen right there. We're currently looking at a Lijiang tower. I'm not sure if this is going to stand or if they're going to switch it to something else, but all right. We've gotten confirmation. It is actually Lijiang, so let's just forget everything.
5, 4, 3,
Okay.
1.
Lijiang Night Market is actually really interesting because you have a lot of really open skies outside of the point here that's going to allow enough and TNK to really have a lot of say over this match with the Pharas. However, the point itself is pretty well covered, so if you can get under there, a more close range comp can certainly work.
yeah, but these two teams are running pretty much a mirror matchup here. In fact, just the main support is different right now. Both of these teams are going to be looking to take a lot of different angles on each other, so neither team is really going to have a whole lot of point presence. We see Reckham going down very low to Kandi. Kandi trying to manage this Tracer duel now, but in the meantime, Kanale has gone down, so there's no res available. It's just going to be the heals from Gabi keeping them up. Oh, and now there's a counter pick though onto Winnie, so no mercy to be found anywhere, at least not for the moment. The point eventually does tick over for Unplugged, as we see Ejin getting bodied and booped away. Angron almost going off the map. The boosters coming back into play just at the right time.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to really get a lot of purchase on the point with these comps that both these teams are running right now. They like to play really spread out, so that's why we see all of these like individual skirmishes with the Pharas fighting in the sky, the Tracers fighting on the sides, and then of course the Wrecking Balls and the supports trying to trying to brawl it out on point. And when you're able to get a little bit onto point, it ends up working out a lot. But both Pharas are down right now.
Yeah, and with both Pharas out of the fight. Oh no, Bones taking a trip off the edge of the map, as is Winnie. Sympanos no Ganas having a hard time getting purchased on this point right now. We've got Ejin getting close to a minefield. And with Phage going down now, this could be Sympanos no Ganas' first opportunity to really take control of the point. They've
And
got
look at all
6
these
ultimates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
of these
Reckham is going to pop the Transcendence to push themselves onto point, give their team a little bit extra healing. Here comes the sound barrier, though, and a nice boop coming out from Ejin. Timed that perfectly right when 8 had just finished using their boosters. But the point is still under control of Unplugged, despite this going very convincingly the way of Sympanos no Ganas. They do eventually get the flip over, but a nice hold there coming out from Unplugged.
Yeah, great hold there. They decide not to really commit all of the ultimates they had available to them. They could have used the minefield to stretch this out a little bit longer, but Big's gonna go ahead and hold on to it for a rainier day, and that rainier day might be now. At 79%, Unplugged could very easily, with one more fight win, put a ton of pressure on Sympanos no Ganas.
That they can, but right now Ejin has that minefield, which is going to give a lot of staying power on point as well. Ejin rolling in now towards the back line of Unplugged, forced to use those adaptive shields, but we do have TNK on point now, and they have that barrage ready to go, but no distinct targets ready for them, and with aid still in their mech, there's not really going to be an opportunity for them to use it, but they're able to take Phage out of the fight, so without that main tank, things are looking a little bit better. Barrage does come in. They trade out as A does find them, eventually takes them out of the sky with the micro missiles. Bones now putting a lot of pressure on the Mercy. Kanale does eventually go down, and now that overtime has been triggered because Unplugged was able to flip the point back in their favor, this is do or die time for Sympanos no Ganas, and at the moment it looks like they are dying.
Enough just cleans things up on the point, and that is what happens when you have an uncontested Pharah on a map like this. Sympanos no Ganas had no answer for it after Taniki ended up getting taken out, and that allowed enough to just clean up the entire point. So, Unplugged take the first round of Lijiang, but now we move to Control Center, and I would assume we'd be seeing some pretty significant swaps out of both these teams. Taniki and enough will have trouble getting value out of the Pharah in these closed-in ceilings and tight corridors.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I imagine we're going to see the main tank change come in as well, although Phage is still hovering over the Wrecking Ball, so we might see something a little bit unorthodox coming out from Unplugged right now. No, we do eventually see the swap come over to the Brawl, just as expected. And complete mirror matchup as well, as these teams both opt to try and take the high ground. Unplugged actually take that back. You're going for a low ground approach instead. Pardon me. Both teams now moving on to the point. Mayballs have been committed as well. Phage almost gets caught out, but is able to kite away from the danger, but Aid gets DMAC, so with that in play now, Angrod as well as DMAC. But look at this, couple of picks coming in now in favor of Panas no ganas. The Brawl looking to be a little bit stronger perhaps for them than the dive was.
A little bit over-aggressive there, I think, from Unplugged. They had the ability to potentially... no, I'm sorry. Panas no ganas, they were able to get out of spawn a little bit faster than Unplugged. They were able to... I think Unplugged were talking about comms and ended up just going with the Brawl. And because of that, they gave away, basically, white room to Panas no ganas, and they were forced to just take a barrage of damage as they tried to get onto the point. Phage's shield got shipped down super low, and with losing the shield war, you're not going to win Brawl.
No, you're absolutely not. Shatter's thrown in now from Ejin, is able to get 2 on the ground. The follow-up not quite there, though, to give exactly what they needed. Aid goes off the map, though. They're having a hard time staying on it today. And now we've got 50% on the board for Panas no ganas. Sound barrier committed as well, and now with that, Panas no ganas goes very, very aggressive into Unplugged, but a counter beat is there, and now we're going to start dancing back towards point, pushing against Panas no ganas, but Toniki has this Deadeye ready to go. A nice shatter coming in from Phage, catches 4. 2 of them go down immediately. Self-destruct thrown up into the air. It's not going to catch anything this time, but Unplugged has the kills that they need, and after this cleanup, they're going to be able to flip the point in their favor for the first time.
Yeah, great patience there from Phage. Doesn't let go of the shatter too early and allows Unplugged to really get settled onto the point, really start getting some damage on and pressure onto Ejin before they end up pulling the trigger and taking him out. And you win that fight with basically just the shatter, which is huge for Unplugged now, because you've got Blizzard, you've got Deadeye, you've got the Diva Bomb and the Ant Matrix, which is going to be empowering them as they try and push through.
Yeah, and that amplification matrix going to cause Panas no ganas to back up quite a bit, or rather Unplugged to back up quite a bit. But they're not going to have that ability now or that ultimate now when they push onto point, so that's going to be a little bit more difficult for them now to gain progress here, especially with the self-destruct coming in from Aid, getting a nice kill onto Winnie and the DMAC on the Remac as well, but Unplugged coming back in with a vengeance. They're not to be outdone, and with that, Panas no ganas is sent packing once again to spawn.
And Unplugged are doing a fantastic job of rotating their ultimates. Canale use his Ant Matrix at the start of that fight is 80% to another one. And you still have the Blizzard and the Deadeye to work with to try and zone Panas no ganas off of the point. To their credit, they also have those ultimates as well as the Shatter. Phage is a little bit behind at the moment.
And here comes that Deadeye now from Toniki. The Ant Matrix, or the Defense Matrix is going to be there, though, to stop it from doing any significant damage. Maywalls are out as well. Stun comes in onto Aid as they try to get a little bit of distance between them and the damage getting thrown their way. Charge coming in from Phage as well. Very aggressive play coming out of that main tank for Unplugged. Here comes the sound barrier from Gabi. That's going to allow them to now push out very aggressively. And this fight looking to go very heavily in favor of Unplugged right now. 90% on the board. Panas no ganas has to come away with something right here if they're going to stay in this first game. With Kandi going down, that's a big start to it. Bones coming alive right now for Panas no ganas. Angrod is going to be demech though, but not before they're able to pick up a pick onto Canale. So without those heals, this point's going to flip.
That fight was all the supports from Panas no Ganas. Phage got to the side and put down a massive shatter onto the rest of the team, but Wreckham had a huge immortality field and Unplugged with the beat sustained everyone through it, and with that, Unplugged are unable to capitalize on those ultimates, and we're gonna go to Gardens.
This is a fantastic matchup already. You love to see these rounds going 99 to 100. And yeah, with Gardens now back in the picture, I imagine we're going to see, yep, the Pharos come out again. Enough says enough with that brawl. We're going back to the sky.
Yeah, but we'll see if Panas no Ganas is going to stick with this Symmetra teleport straight to point kind of composition. They've got a little bit of time to change it, but it would be an interesting matchup here to see Panas no Ganas obviously get the point first because of that Sim teleport, but then have to try and deal with the poke damage coming in from Enough, from Convi, from Phage. It is going to be quite the ordeal. The question is, how patient can they be? And with what they actually have run out with, I don't know if I like this matchup. You really have nothing for Enough here.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult to deal with. They're going for kind of a 6-man dive on Panas no Ganas, but with a Tracer instead of the Reaper. So interesting looking composition. A couple of trades coming in, but they are favoring Panas no Ganas initially. Taniki almost goes off the map there, but is able to translocate away. And the point going to almost go in favor of Panas no Ganas, and as soon as Phage rolls through, it is going to flip in their favor.
Panas no Ganas' entire game plan revolves around playing fast right now. Enough is getting a ton of spam damage into their team right now, already with the barrage, but he has to get kills. And he doesn't have enough time to get kills right now before the rest of his team falls around him.
Yeah, there's just no hope for it right there. Angrod coming away with a nice boop on the Phage. We're gonna quite a few environmental kills on this on this map today. From both sides, actually. I'm a little surprised that actually Panas no Ganas has come away with the point capture so quickly and easily so far, because I feel like if you look at this composition, or the compositions coming out, Unplugged does have a slight advantage, because like you said, they have the Pharah in the sky, largely uncontested.
Look at those supports, though. Canale is on Mercy, is going to be just on top of Enough all game long, and yeah, that was beautiful, probably from Taniki to hack Enough out of the sky. But like I was saying, Canale is going to be on him for so long. Sorry, it's going to be on Enough. They did a couple comp swaps, I got confused. He's going to be on Enough the entire time, which means it's going to be all on Gavi to heal the rest of the team. There's like no healing.
That is a very good point, and with Gavi out of the fight now and Canale popping that Valkyrie, things are not going well for Unplugged. They've committed that ultimate to what's looking like a losing fight, and if you look at the old composition coming in for Panas no Ganas, they're looking much healthier right now. Nice stick coming out on to the Wrecking Ball, takes Gavi out of the fight. The res is going to come in, but there's 90% on the clock, and without your main tank, things are going to be very tough, but there are a couple of picks in favor of Unplugged at this point. Sound barrier now committed by Weenie. They're trying to stay on point as long as they can. The Pulse Bomb eaten this time by Angrod as well, so Kandi not finding any value with that. The overtime starting to tick over. Can anybody from Unplugged touch? They've got the minefield now on point, but I think it's going to be too little too late. The self-destruct comes in as well. That's going to clear away the bombs and the bomb maker in Phage. Overtime's going to click over. That's going to do it. Panas no Ganas coming away with the win after going down early to Unplugged on Night Market.
And that was a fascinating comp matchup at the end there. Just to reiterate here, when you look at it initially, you think this guy right here, Enough, is going to be the star of the show. Panas no Ganas are running a very close-range based comp. They really don't have any hard ways to counter him in the air. But when Unplugged rolls out with a Mercy and a Lucio as their supports, that means they really don't have very much sustainability as a composition. Panas no Ganas are able to understand this. They're able to realize that, hey, if we play super fast and just kill everyone on the ground before Enough has the chance to chunk down us all, we win the fight. And that was what
Right.
happened over and over and over and over again for Unplugged in that round. They just didn't adjust. Because of that, Panas and ganas have an early lead in the series.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And let's take a quick look. You know, speaking of Pharah, Divas counter that Pharah. Let's take a quick peek at these Diva stats that we have.
Both of them had
and
their hands
look-
full, it seems. with
Yeah,
the
they
damage
did.
blocked.
Yeah, but look at the elims difference. You know, that's the most striking thing to me. Angrod coming away with double the number of elims of Aid on the other side. So Angrod really showing up in the kill feed to a very large degree, much more so than Aid. And I think that's going to be one of the big differences, you know, that we're going to have to look at going forward into these next matches is, you know, is Aid going to be able to get the same value that Angrod has been getting so far?
One of the biggest marks of a great Diva player at a really high level is just being where your team needs you to be all the time. Diva is this weird hybrid where you're not really a front line, you're not really a back line, you're kind of a little bit of both, and you're expected with your insane mobility to be able to fly back and forth as needed, help everyone out. So seeing double the eliminations from Angrod shows me that he did a much better job on that Lijiang map of being where his team needed him to be the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's at these higher levels, you really have to min-max each character, right? And getting, you know, maximizing the value in terms of kills for a Diva, that's impressive, right? Because that's not really your primary goal, right? Your primary objective is really to protect your team with that defense matrix. But if you can get that extra little bit of value, right, in the kill feed, then that's tremendous. And really, really admirable from Angrod. Now, we're going to have to see if they're able to continue this this kind of this success in our next map. We are going to be headed to Numbani next, so anticipating a lot more dive coming out.
Yeah, and I can potentially see Unplugged trying to stick with those fire comps on Numbani, and it could definitely work. That is where they had the most success, when they were able to force the sort of far wrecking ball mirror compositions. I do think some panas and ganas are probably going to stick onto the dive because it worked as a really nice counter to those far comps.
Mm-hmm.
And Unplugged really need to figure out how they're going to adjust and deal with that, because if they don't figure something out, I mean, a really good team is able to say, this isn't working, let's change it. And Unplugged just didn't do that on Gardens.
Yeah, they didn't swap comps there, but you know, it feels to me like on paper that Unplugged composition should have worked a little bit better than we saw it. So excuse me. You know, it'll be curious to see whether or not, you know, their composition on paper again looks a little bit better than what Panas and ganas is running out with.
Yeah.
And if they can translate that, you know, lead on paper into a win in the actual game. I'll be curious to see if Pharah comes out again. It can be used on first point, although you don't typically see it too much, especially not on defense. It is the Jinmu special, absolutely. I've seen it more on attack, I feel like, than I have on defense, but could be coming out either way, and I'll be curious to see if that's the case.
Yep, we do have the game starting there on the screen, as we do have Unplugged, I believe, on the attack first. They are running out with a dive comp, but enough is going to be on the Echo this time around. So the flying character specialist is going to be continuing to show his stuff on the second round today. Panas and ganas, on the other hand, are going for a very bunkery comp with the Orisa and the Torbjorn.
Both teams sporting a Brigitte this time around. Each one of them, I imagine, anticipating a dive coming in. But in this case, yeah, Gabi, I could see them swapping over to the Mercy if they don't get this first push successfully completed. Faith now looking for a dive somewhere onto the high ground, but with Aid getting demaxed, they're going to have a hard time finding value now. They may just want to wait and do a couple of soft dives. That's exactly, I think, what we're going to see here coming out from Phage, just trying to build up a little bit more ult charge for themselves and Kanale. Kanale getting very close, actually, to that nano. I imagine we're going to see a nano boosted Winston here very shortly. Aid is able to get back into their mech, and that is great timing considering Kanale just procced
Ejin is low
that
too.
nano boost.
This is the time. You've got to go in with a nano boost at Winston.
Yeah, and here they come. That nano boost has been committed, but Bones finds enough. There's not going to be any more pressure in the sky, but Angrod is asleep right now, so there is an opportunity for Unplugged to try and get something going, but with AD mech'd and taken out of the fight again, in fact, no tanks on the board for Unplugged. This push is over, and Sympanos Nogales has to be happy because they've burned over a minute and a half off the clock.
That, I think, was a pretty big misplay there from Unplugged. At the moment where the nano boost came online, Ejin was taking a ton of chunk damage, had maybe 100 health left. That was a perfect opportunity to jump onto the Orisa with the nano boost, and with that burst damage, take out the focal point of this bunker comp. Instead, he tries to jump onto the supports, and the Ashe, who just coach guns him away, no dive for you. And because of that, Unplugged's nano boost push ends up getting them completely nothing. And yeah, like you said, over half the time gone and nothing to show for it.
No, there's not. Although this push looking a little bit better, that isn't until both supports go down. They're still going to try and make something happen with it, though. They commit the Dragon Strike to try and clear the high ground, but what's getting cleared instead is all of the players from Unplugged. They are just not able to get anything going. Winnie commits the rally as well, but I'm not even sure if they necessarily needed it.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well just give everyone a little bit of armor to sustain through the fight, but you could have potentially held on to it, but you're still feeling pretty good if you're Sympanos Nogales. You've got Bob on point, you've got the Diva Bomb, you've got Self-Destruct, and the Amplification Matrix. These are all tools that Dive just hates. They want to be able to take their space, and these ults don't let them do that.
A nice boot comes in right there from Winnie to keep Fade from disrupting their composition. At least initially, they do go down very low. They try to get mini health back, but instead they find a Torb. Bones waiting in the wings. And once again, this push from Unplugged not looking too great. Enough tries to duplicate the Orisa, gets the supercharger, but they're taken out of that duplication form very quickly. Self-destruct coming in, and it finds two. Angrod coming away with a couple of nice kills, one onto the support as well as the Diva. So again, with 20 seconds left to go, Unplugged looking like they're a little bit unplugged at the moment. I don't know if they're really going to get another good contest here. It's going to be a scuffed last fight for them.
It's going to be very scuffed. Gavi's going to swap over onto the Lucio just to try and get a little bit more speed on their side. But even so, there's so many players on Sympanos Nogales that are ready to try and boop them away. And there is a touch there, I think, from Enough, or... from someone. Someone from Unplugged got there.
Yeah, but now there's a D-Mech to Diva on point A doing everything they can, but with a Molten Core now, this is going to be very hard for anybody from Unplugged to find purchase on point. There is a Dragon Strike that comes in, and Bones is going to be taken out, but the overtime goes away, and Sympanos Nogales with a phenomenal full hold here on Numbani.
Beautiful stuff from Sympanos Nogales. And when I'm thinking about this attack, I have to go back to that very first engagement from Unplugged. They spent a full minute trying to build up Nano Boost, and they had the perfect opportunity to break open this bunker, but in the end, just poor awareness of where the game was at the moment, bad target prioritization from Unplugged there. I really do think if they had jumped onto the Orisa, they would have killed her and broken onto that point, and then who knows where we are. Instead, we got a full hold, and Unplugged can only play for a draw.
Yeah, and I have to think too about the difference between the Diva players that we saw. Aid was getting D-Mechs left and right there for Unplugged, and without that damage mitigation coming in from your Diva player, it's just going to be so hard to push. So I think, there are several things there that Unplugged needed to try and fix, but they just weren't able to, and Sympanos Nogales took advantage of every single opportunity that they had. I think the Torbjorn pick as well was very, very powerful. I mean, just having that Molten Core on point is huge. And now, Sympanos Nogales, they just have to get one tick. Unplugged to stick with the dive composition on defense this time around.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a little dive and a little bit of counter dive as well with the Ash from Enough instead of, say, a Sombra here. Panas no Ganas, once again, this is just like Gardens. They're going to play extremely fast. They're just going to try and jump onto Unplugged before they're ready for it.
Yeah, they have the Sombra, and I'm curious to see who the hack target is going to be. It might be A, because if they can get that D-Mech again, which has been coming very, very quickly, this could be a big opportunity and opening for them. We see both the DPS now over on the coast side. They have a mini health pack hack. Bone's going to be able to take advantage of this and now start to put some pressure on the backline. Here comes the dive in. They get a kill already on the Canal. Gavi is down too without any supports left to go. This is almost assuredly over, but there is a counter pick on the Ejin and Wreckham. With Wreckham going down, it's just the heals from Winnie. Can they stay alive? They're going down to about a quarter of their health. They've gotten it just about back, but the point is almost ticked over in favor of Unplugged. There's just one player left standing on point. It's going to be the D.Va, and now they are D-Mech'd. They're not going to be long for this world, and with that, Panas no Ganas goes up 2-0 in this best of 5.
I mean, that was just a clean dive there from Panas no Ganas. They're able to identify the weak point in the hold of Unplugged, where they could most easily get on top of them, and, I mean, just established it perfectly. I mean, that was just kind of a team diff there. I'm not gonna lie. We had Unplugged try to run dive on offense, get stonewalled the whole time, Panas no Ganas, one and done. Just about as perfect of a map as you can get. And now they're on match point.
It certainly was. That's absolutely right. Unplugged now. Their perfect record may become tarnished with an L if they don't pick things up in this next map. But before we go there, we're going to throw it to a short break here in the casting booth. So stick around. We will be back very shortly, and don't go anywhere.
Kiss your
There you go again, looking so handsome. Oh, you have your way, and it's making me weaken. You and your stardust, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. How I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind. You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I try to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. No one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it Oh, no one does it
One more wine, one more whiskey, and we just kept the car in park and dim the headlights so we see the stars. Let them tell us where we should start. And I'm scared as hell because there's no way to know how this goes. But I can't help but say I promise to give you my all. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. The sight of you, it makes me dizzy. And when you're gone, I miss your face. Tonight I'll meet you in our favorite place. And just can't let this wait one more day. I can't help but say, trusting why you are so beautiful. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't lay you down. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. But it might break me.
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speedy's gonna be able
Oh,
to follow
no.
up. Talk
You
about
let
jumping
him
over to the
do.
Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, they just got eviscerated.
Oh! He's not dead! Right now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now. This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. He-Bot going absolutely massive.
here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us during that little bit of an extended break. I apologize. I was having sound issues on my side, but we have gotten them all sorted out now, and we are ready to go. And so are the teams dividing. Next, we will be headed to Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite the play here from Unplugged, right? You lose on Lijiang Tower in a pretty close matchup. You choose Numbani, a dive-heavy map. You get, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it here. You get rolled. You get full held and then instantly rolled over on your defense to lose Numbani extremely quickly. And then you take it to another dive map, Gibraltar. This is a team that is obviously very confident in their dive abilities. And I hope that they, over the course of the break, they've had a chance to really talk over what went wrong in that first game and how they can improve it for the next time. Because, man, I really don't. I'll be honest with you, Joe. God, I want a good game here. I want a good game. I don't want this to just be a repeat of Numbani. I hope Unplugged has something going on the defense here as we get it.
I do as well, and I have to agree with you. This is an interesting choice right here, going to Watchpoint Gibraltar after having such a tough time on Numbani. We are going to see Unplugged on the attack this time, so they've decided, or rather, Panas no ganas has opted for defense this time. They want to see how long they can hold it.
Yeah, it is the other way around. Panas no ganas is on the
defense.
I'm so
sorry.
Start.
Yes.
Offense. Offense. They're red. That means offense.
Yes.
All right, and so, but we do see Unplugged coming out of spawn with. This is basically, I'd have to look back at the VOD, but I do think this is pretty much the same comp that they ran on Numbani defense with the dive tanks, a tracer, and an Ash from Enough trying to run sort of an anti-dive sort of composition, and then Kanale and Gavi on some high healing supports. It's just, can you stick together and not give Panas no ganas a weak point to exploit?
Yeah, that is going to be the question. Panas no ganas is going to start off with the Sim TP over to the Watchtower. Going to go ahead and get the entire team up on this bridge and try and push out Unplugged from that very nice position that you do get initially on the defense. Ejin now on the low ground, just pushing card at the moment. It's going to be stalled out now by Phage, who's dropped down as well. Phage going to decide to dive onto the back line of Panas, but they're going to be booped away by Winnie. Enough goes down very low, but they're going to get healed back up, but Phage is not going to be quite so fortunate. Without your main tank, it's going to be hard now to start to initiate these dives onto the low ground. Phage has respawned though, so they're going to be back in the fight. If Unplugged can stay together, they're going to be not too worse for the wear.
Yeah, and look at all this space that Unplugged had to cede over Panas no ganas. They're now going to be able to get the cart through the car wash and have the high ground advantage over the tank. See, Wreckham just has all the space in the world to get free pot shots onto the tanks of Unplugged here, as now the cart reaches that second corner and a confrontation has to happen.
That it does, and you mentioned Wreckham on the Zenyatta, and that is such a key character in this dive composition. You need to be following those discords, and speaking of discords, we see one right now on that nano boosted Phage. They do eventually go down low. Their health just getting chunked through so quickly due to that discord, and now Winnie has popped the rally as well, so Panas no ganas is going to keep the pressure up, especially without that main tank. Enough pops the Bob, but they're going to lose their life in the process. And Toniki getting very close to getting their own Bob, but I'm not sure if they're even really necessarily going to need it.
I'm sorry, did Winnie just go all the way? Okay, Bones and Gavi take each other out, but my goodness. Yeah, Panas no ganas are able to take this fight. I think Winnie might have gone all the way around behind the doors of Point A.
Wow.
To go up to the top and assassinate Enough. And if that is what I saw, that is insane.
Yeah, that absolutely is. But Panas no ganas, the rally is popped by Gavi, but it's not going to be enough to stymie the aggression coming out from Panas no ganas. And they have just done a tremendous job so far. Reckham especially has been popping off. I mean, that one headshot onto the Tracer onto Condi was just tremendous back in point one.
And Unplugged have been on the back foot this entire game so far. They have not really had the opportunity to really stamp their feet on this point, but with 4 ultimates coming online and this spaceship engagement, this is about as good a time as any.
That's true, it is. We are going to see Phage pop that Primal Rage. Now they're going to have a lot of staying power in the backline. Taniki taken out as well, so they're going to be down that DPS plus Bob, and with a Pulse Bomb connecting onto Windy as well. Sympanos Noganos coming up against the first real force that they have in this Unplugged team, at least on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Ejin now diving into the backline. They are barely going to escape with their life. Condi tries to chase, but is forced to recall at the last moment.
Yeah, and that was good play there from Phage. I think there's been a little bit of over-aggression coming out from the main tank of Unplugged so far in this matchup. Goes in a little bit too far chasing kills, but this time gets what he wants fast and gets out of there and is able to keep Unplugged in control in a very strong position, by the way. I mean, look at all this high ground on the spaceship that Unplugged get to have. It is going to be very difficult for Sympanos Noganos to get out of these little tiny 4 entry doors without just getting destroyed by enough by Aid all over the place.
You know, but that was an excellent dive coming in from Ejin. A lot of attention diversion right there. They the Unplugged drops onto the point, but in the meantime, everybody from Sympanos Noganos was able to get in onto the point, and now with Aid out of the fight as well, and enough gone too, the control of the card is going to fall back under Sympanos Noganos' control, and they're going to push very, very far as well. Gavi's going to pop a rally though to try and keep things going for Unplugged, but with most of their team, or with a good portion of their team missing, it's going to be difficult to keep anything going. Here comes the self-destruct as well, not going to find anything, but it does chase people away momentarily. Ejin has this minefield as well. They look to be using it on the high ground, but their grappled isn't quite successful. Condi coming back in with a pick again. Make that 2! Winning out the Tracer duel and getting Winnie out of the fight. Sympanos Noganos falling apart here at the last moment. Unplugged once again finding their footing.
I've got to give a shout out to Gavi there. That rally was perfectly timed. It looked like Sympanos Noganos was on their way to a 2nd point hold, but he was able to keep himself and Canale alive long enough for reinforcements to come back. Condi gets a double kill, and they're able to sustain just long enough to retake this high ground. And now 1:20 seconds left on the clock. Sympanos Noganos, they have to take a lot of time to get set up here.
Yeah, that they did. But look at this aggression coming out, the nano boost onto Phage, and the rest of the team just combining to do tremendous damage. Beautiful. And that pushes over before it even starts.
And now I think we're starting to see with that, that's why Unplugged are so confident in their dive compositions. That was just really great. Just a jump in from Phage with the nano boost from Canale. Sympanos Noganos had absolutely nothing that they could do about it. That was the first, like, really clean dive engagement from Unplugged, I think, so far, and that really shows that they can hang with Sympanos Noganos on this comp.
Oh, absolutely. They really seem to have found their footing at this point. Take a look at the stats from Bones as Tracer. I mean, they've got an incredible amount of damage done already. 60 limbs, 4 final blows, and that weapon accuracy is tremendous as well. They're really starting to pop off for Sympanos Noganos. A couple of trades coming in. Ejin pops the minefield as well onto point. Bob looks to be committed to very soon, but no enough is going to be taken out of the fight before they're able to get it online. 10 seconds left to go. Sympanos Noganos has to come away with a fight win here. Slam going to come in now from Phage, who has gone over to the Wrecking Ball to try and stall things out. They go down very low, though. Can Bones finish them off? They're trying desperately, but Phage is getting pocketed very well as well. The slam coming in takes Winnie out of the fight as well. And Sympanos Noganos starting to have a little bit of trouble here. We've got the Transcendence committed as well from Reckham to try and keep people up. The Bob of Enough has had just about enough and has taken out a couple of members, and Unplugged gonna come away with the hold here on the final last few meters of 2nd point here on Watchpoint Gibraltar. They just have a few more staggers to finish off, but if they can do that, look at this. It's gonna come away with Unplugged holding 2nd point.
The MVPs of that defense for me are absolutely Canale and Gavi. They were able to sustain Unplugged through some sticky situations, some losing situations, with perfectly timed ultimates, perfectly timed sleeps from Canal. Gavi's rallies were insane. I was so impressed at how many times it looked like Panas no ganas had the advantage in a fight, but then I'd hear a rally go off, I'd hear a nano boost go off, and then all of a sudden, Unplugged had the advantage.
Yeah, that was just tremendous play that we saw from Unplugged right there. They hadn't really shown us what they were made of, I think, until this point. Numbani, they just kind of fell apart on that first defense, but now we're starting to see the true power of their dive defense. And, this second point of Gibraltar is so strong on defense if you can get that spaceship hold, which is exactly what we saw. So good on them seeing, that they were able to take advantage of this very, very defense favored position and, hold this second point, because Panas no ganas was really on a tear up until this point.
It is a really underrated defensive hold there on Gibraltar B, but it really is one of the strongest. Because not only do you have all sorts of high ground available to you on the spaceship, on the little platform surrounding the spaceship, but the attacking team has to squeeze in through these 4 little tiny doors. That's just, it's so easy when you're doing that for the defending team to really focus their fire on the whichever one you decide to come out of. So even though Panas no ganas might have been able to get a couple of picks in their fights, they take so much damage just to get those engagements that eventually Unplugged were able to take advantage of it and push it for a fight win after fight win.
That's such a good point. When you mentioned they have to expend so many resources just to get through those doors, right? On point B. And that's not even, getting them to the cart, which, during I guess the second and third fight was about halfway to the doors. But once it gets stopped right in front of those doors, you've got to expend so much utility in order to get through those doors, and then so much more to get to the point before you can even really start the fight. So just a really uphill battle that you have to fight on attack right there. So good on Unplugged coming away with this nice hold, and now it's going to be up to them on attack to see if they can match it. But the defense from Panas no ganas on Numbani was staggeringly good as well.
Yeah, 100%. But now, of course, if you're Unplugged, you're like, okay, yeah, nice defense. We're able to really take advantage of this nice high ground. Now we've got to play through that to get ourselves our first map win, take us to a map 4. And I'm sure Panas no ganas are thinking of the same thing, thinking, well, we were able to push the cart basically to the end of point B. So if we can just do what Unplugged did, just a little bit better, and take advantage of that high ground, it would be curtains for this game. Still, we have to set the stakes here. Unplugged have their backs against the wall here. They have to beat 1 point and 73.73 meters, or else they could be in a do or die situation here against Enzonix potentially.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Unplugged does not want their, they want to come away with a win here so that they are guaranteed a spot in the tournament, in the playoffs. But they're not going to be there. It's looking a little rough for them right now. Enough trying to get a little bit of damage onto that brig, working down Winnie's shield as much as they can. Throws in some dynamite as well, finds a couple of people, getting a little bit extra ult charge there, but not likely to result in any kills. Nice positioning coming out already from Unplugged. They're pushing away very hard at Panas no ganas. They're giving up a lot of room here and card progress. As we can see, Unplugged has control now over this blue box, which is just a key defensive point, with Winnie going down as well. Panas no ganas falling apart. 80's the business end of a grenade as well. The sleep does come out onto Phage. They are going to be taken out of the fight, and so that's going to put a stop, at least temporarily, to Unplugged's attack.
And again, the supports Canal with a massive anti-nade to take out Gavi from the fight. Gives enough the space he needs to take out 3.
Look at this.
This is just insane. This is just target practice right now for enough. No one's looking at him. No one's even close to him. He has basically no pressure and is able to get off these shots one after the other. And now 5 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock to push this 70 meters. This is Unplugged's match to lose.
Unplugged knew exactly what they were doing when they chose Watchpoint Gibraltar. This team has come alive right now. Enough is finding pick after pick after pick. A throws in a self-destruct now to try and remech themselves. But the anti-nade comes in from Wreckham a little bit too early. And yeah, they may have bit off more than they could chew right there. But look at how close the card already is.
That might be a bit of a misplay here from Unplugged. They still have plenty of time on the clock, I want to say, but losing 8 in that fight means now you're at a player disadvantage to start this off. But Gavi says, no, we got a bit of a raid boss situation. The nano boosted Brigitte uses rally, is all over the place. What are you supposed to do there if you're a diva? You can't. And Grod goes down. And now Unplugged are marching towards a map win.
That they are. There's just a few meters separating them from a game 4 right here. And it's not going to be a full 6-man fight coming out from Panas no ganas. We've got the Bob now committed from Toniki, but they're going to be taken out of the fight very quickly. Phage has now got their sights set on this Anna. They've gone down to about half health. They're going to be booped to oblivion as well. Panas no ganas falling apart. Angrad gonna throw in the self-destruct as well, but they're gonna die before they're able to remech. Ejin now popping the Bob as last, or rather the Primal Rage is a last-minute attempt to try and hold on here, but Phage is just too strong, taking Winnie out of the fight once again. Enough, getting a couple more kills. 2 meters left to go. 3.5 minutes on the clock, but they're not going to need that time as the kills still coming in favor of Unplugged. 8 is going to be demexed, but both takes are down now. Gavi is out of it. Panas no ganas, they're coming back. What a defense.
This is insane. That fight went for like an entire minute. And the longer this fight goes, the more it favors Panas no ganas on the defense. And with the cart so far back, their spawn is quite a bit closer to the cart than Unplugged's is right now. So it really does come down to the fact that they were able to get reinforcements faster. And in a long drawn-out fight, that absolutely benefits Panas no ganas. Unplugged, they need to end it fast in order to get those last couple of meters.
Yeah, that they do, but they're having a hard time getting in here. Gavi has now popped the rally once again, and we've seen just how powerful that can be for this Unplugged squad right here. Aid pops the self-destruct once again, but it's not going to find any kills, and in fact, Winnie is able to take Aid out of the fight, so Unplugged looking a little worse for the wear at the moment. They're going to have the nano boost committed onto Phage as well. Bob thrown into the fight too from enough. They're throwing everything they can at this fight to try and get the win, and it's working out for them now. They were down initially, but they've got the picks. They don't have any more support. Panas no ganas is going down, and that's going to do it. We're going to see a map 4.
Yeah, it was a little bit tough there at the end, but Unplugged, they had the abilities, they had the ultimates. I think that was kind of a last gambit sort of play from Panas no ganas. They throw their main tank at them, put the nano boost, try and see if they can get an early pick, but unfortunately is not quite able to get anything out of it. And after that, the main tank was so low, they had to commit so many resources to get them back up, and Unplugged are able to convert that to a fight win, a map win. And Unplugged, they aren't out of this just yet. But now, of course, they do have to play through the map pick of Panas no ganas.
That is true. They are going to have to play through that, and that could be tough for them. But you know what? This Unplugged squad, they've surprised me. They've shown, again, why they deserve to be at the top of this bracket, for sure. And yeah. I am just blown away by, it looked like a completely different team, right? This Unplugged squad really knew what they were doing. And I just want to highlight this Ash play from Enough as well.
Oh, for sure.
They were responsible almost single-handedly for the entire push through first point. I believe we've got some stats as well. We can take a look at Enough versus Toniki as well. So let's pull those up because, yeah, this Elin line, look at that. More than double. More than double the elims of Toniki right there.
Too.
Yeah, and the weapon accuracy, just tremendous. this I think was the big difference maker in this last matchup. I want to go back and correct something I said. I said enough just about single-handedly capture that point, but they did it on the backs of some excellent play. The tanks creating space, the healers there supporting them, just allowed enough to really shine on that map.
I 100% agree. I think it's really easy to look at these stats and go, well, I guess it was just an Ashe diff. But after watching it, I really do feel like Enough was able to get so much more value because the team was creating that value for him. Like that highlight reel 3K that we casted over. Enough had some insane shots, true. But he also had the space to work with and the attention taken off of him because the rest of Unplugged had executed such a clean dive and put so much pressure onto the members of Sympanos no Ganas before that fight even happened, before that clip even happened. That happened because the rest of Unplugged gave Enough the room to work. I do hear you. I'm not sure if it's coming. Is it not coming through Phoenix? Uh-oh. Well, we're moving through into Hanamura right now. We might get a little bit of dividing solo cast here as we try and figure out what's going on from Jungle God. We'll push through this here. So we'll figure things out here on the side, and while we do that, it's just me and you, chat, as we will have Sympanos no Ganas on the attack first. Unplugged coming out with a very bunkery comp. This is really reminiscent of what Sympanos no Ganas did to them on Nimbani here. You got the Orisa, you've got the Ashe covering behind him, you've got Kandi on the Pharah as well. And Sympanos no Ganas, in response, are going to go with that extremely fast composition. And before I can even say anything, Ejin has already jumped on top of the clump of Unplugged members and has taken out Kanale. That's the main healer for Unplugged. Gavi now is under so much pressure trying to split attention between Kandi and the rest of the team. And Sympanos no Ganas are going to just roll through right now. That was a perfectly executed dive from Ejin and Bones to take out the main support of Unplugged. And, I mean, when you lose your Baptiste that early in the fight, there's absolutely nothing that can be done. Sympanos no Ganas are instantly moving on to point B. They don't look phased at all. No, Taniki has the angle on Kanale. Taniki, he has the angle, but isn't able quite to get it. We have the quick respawn coming out from Unplugged, so it's not like we're going to be able to have the snowball potentially available. 5 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock. Sympanos no Ganas. And they have... Oh, man, the snowball potential here is so real. You've got Coalescence from Rekim. You've got Diva Bomb from Angrod. You've got Primal Rage from Ejin. And we do have a pause here. I believe that pause comes through as we're trying to figure out what's going on with Jungle God here. All right, we are going to go to a quick break here while we work through these tech issues with Jungle God. We'll be right back with the rest of Sympanos no Ganas' attack after this.
Take a trip around your body, boy, I love the way you got exactly what to do to blow my mind. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon. Take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed, got me starry-eyed. This bed is out of space, just keep painting constellations. You cover me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. My name is Dividing, and Jogo God, I think we got a voice
Yes.
again.
We have a voice again. Hooray! At least I had a voice previously, just nobody could hear it. So we are back and ready to go. I apologize for those issues. Sorry there have been so many today, but we got them sorted out quick this time.
If Jogo God is casting and nobody can hear him, did he ever cast at all?
Right, exactly. That is the philosophical question of the day. But we are ready to head back in, and what a fast cap coming out from Panas no ganas. Again, they just blitzed through that first point of Hanamura, and on this dive composition as well. You know, normally when we see such a fast push like that, it's because it's a TP with Rush.
This has been a very dive-centric game so far. Panas no ganas are trying to make sure that Unplugged have no time to think before they're right on top of him. The dive comes in very quickly, but Kandi is there with the barrage. And that might be enough here to hold him off for the moment, but still picks either way.
Yeah, with both supports out of the picture at this point and the spawn advantage heavily in favor of Unplugged, this is certainly going to go their way eventually. 8 is demeched though, so things definitely not over yet for Panas no ganas as a pick does come out onto Kaneo, but with Gavi still up and alive, it's going to be really hard for them to get much more done. Panas no ganas still falling by the wayside. They're going to have to give up this push.
Yeah, again, I really like the gameplay from Panas no ganas here. They're just trying to play so incredibly fast, but now you have let Unplugged get their bearings, to get their footing, and they have every ultimate except for Kandi's barrage, which was used in the last fight. And honestly, with how much spam damage he's able to get just onto Panas no ganas, I would not be surprised if they're able to just push through and get that fight yet again. In this fight again, so may as well assume that it's a 6-man, 6-ult fight, but good EMP.
Yeah, excellent EMP coming in. It catches out several members of Unplugged. Kaneo gonna go down, but Gavi is there with the Valkyrie to keep them up through this. We're gonna see Angrod get demeched as well, though, so Panas no ganas looking to have a little bit of trouble here. They do go down eventually. Both tanks combining for a couple kills right there, and Unplugged really finding their footing on this defense. And look at the ult bank that they have going into this next fight too.
You only had to use the support ultimates, and that one a big tool used for Unplugged, but you look at those check marks on their side, and you are feeling pretty good. You have so much that can just disrupt Panas no ganas, right? The Primal Rage, the Self-Destruct, the Bob. They want to take points quickly and hold on to it. These ults don't let them hold on to it.
No, you're absolutely right. They don't. Enough looking to find an opportunity for this Bob, but it's going to be Kandi in the sky finding Recommend without those heals. Once again, this is going to be just about over for Panas no ganas. We're going to see them disassembled very quickly by this Unplugged squad. And look at that. They only used one ult.
Yeah, I think at this point, if you're Panas no ganas, you're thinking, okay, what can we possibly change up here to make this a little bit better? Now, you are coming up on a lot of ultimates if you're Panas no ganas, to be fair. You have the Primal Rage, you have the Pulse Bomb, and you'll have EMP and Self-Destruct up very soon, as well as Coalescence, honestly. Very fast-charging ultimate. So you might want to give this one more good try and see if you can finally break through this, but it is so difficult. Again, you have to play so fast, and you have to mitigate how much Kandi can do to your comp, and no one's looking at him. They're playing too slow, and there's too much chunk.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Reckham still getting picked off a lot. The sleep coming in onto Bones as well. Nice shot coming in from Conde on that napping Tracer right there. We're going to see Phage popping the Primal Rage, this time from Unplugged, to give a little bit more point presence and staying power. They're going to try and cut off the escape route as well from Panas no ganas. But look at this. Ultimate coming up for them as well. Winnie just about has this sound barrier online. Here comes the EMP. They've already used the sound barrier as well. Kandi trying to find some kills, but having a hard time getting through all that armor. But you know who isn't? It's Bob coming up with a couple of kills as well. And now Panas no ganas, look at how much they invested and how little they got.
I mean, I think that fight goes back down to the very beginning there as Bones went in the back to try and take out Canale and I think used the pulse bomb in that moment. And even so, got slept up, taken out instantly. You lose that backline fight. It is so difficult for what not having a tracer, and then their Ana is just on top of everything. Canale is pushing Unplugged through some pretty sketchy situations, just like on Gibraltar. So some great stuff, and they have had the ultimate advantage for basically this whole defense. They have rotated their ultimates beautifully, and Panas no ganas has never really had a really advantageous position, especially now as they swap over to more of a brawl comp.
Yeah, this is the move that I think needed to happen a while ago, but better late than never. We're gonna have a nano boost on the Kandi right now, getting a lot of damage into the entire lineup of Panas no ganas. The immortality field just a little bit late, not quite there to save Toniki this time around. A nice concussive blast as well, knocks everybody off that high ground. May going down very low. Bones is able to find that mega health pack though, and now enough is getting, oh my gosh, what a sleep. They were at 7 health. 7 health before Ejin got slept out of their primal rage. What a hero play coming out from Canale right there. And now things are once again going the way of Unplugged. There's just about 5 seconds left to go. We've got the Blizzard committed on point. A couple of picks do come in favor now of Panas no ganas. Can they come away with a win right here? Without Wreckham, it's going to be very tough, especially because even if they trade, the spawn advantage is still in favor of Unplugged. And with the picks coming in now, it's not going to be enough to Niki's Deadeye to change things around. There's just one member left on point, but they're not going to last too long. Winnie is out of the fight, and with that,
wow,
Unplugged holds.
It was, yeah. I mean, I think Panas no ganas, they had their game plan to play super fast, super on point, and keep Unplugged on the back foot, and it worked really well for that first fight. But
yeah,
the second that Unplugged were able to regain their footing, get that first point B defense, it felt like it was already over. Panas no ganas on this Hanamura point B, you don't have the room going into this point to play as fast as you potentially could on A. And because of that, they have to play slow. They have to take the chunk damage from Enough and from Kandi, and Canale just landing sleeps left and right. And you can't get the fast play that you need for that comp to work. And they eventually, like you said, swapped to a more brawly comp that could have worked better, but it was way too late at that point. Unplugged had the ultimate advantage, just like they had for the last 5 minutes. I still think that's crazy.
Yeah, that was an absolutely tremendous defense coming out from Unplugged. You know, they seem to they have a little bit of a hard time holding on to first, but once they've sunk their teeth into second point, they do not let it go. Panas no ganas opting for this kind of counter dive composition right here, anticipating Unplugged coming out with a dive, which is exactly what we're gonna see.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is pretty much swapped right now. Panas no ganas going with the Orisa composition to try and hold off the dive from Unplugged. Phage, though, is on the Wrecking Ball this time around instead of the Winston. We'll see how that affects their play style here, having no bubble, but increased mobility.
Yeah, I think it's going to play out very well for them, actually, because they're going to be able to disrupt this Orisa, but not if Wreckham has anything to say about it. Look at those picks coming in.
He just took out before Mercy as an
Yeah,
Ana.
that was incredible. Yeah, that was absolutely incredible.
Okay. I mean, I think if I'm playing in this game, that one's going on the Twitter clip, the Twitter clip dump montage. I would get that one. And you look at Canale on the other side too, 90% to the nano. Both Ana's doing great.
Excellent opportunity spotted there by Phage to take Toniki out of the fight. without that Ash, you know, keeping these sight lines down. It's going to be a lot easier for Unplugged to start to move in now. We see them starting to move back to point right now. Panas no Ganas taking a much more defensive position, but Ejin is still up towards the front line. We've got a little bit of disruption coming in from Paige in the back line, but Bones just about has this Molten Core online, and that's going to be crucial in holding on to this point. They've just about given up one tick at this point, but they can afford to do that. But not with Gavi and Kanale going down Unplugged, getting stymied once again. And now, minute and a half been burned off the clock, and Unplugged hasn't made any progress yet on first point.
They have not, and I mean, we have to think about the very real possibility right now. If Panas no Ganas can get a full hold here, that's it. Game over.
Yeah.
That would be the win for Panas no Ganas and an undefeated record in the group. They still have to hold this for 2 minutes, and into a barrage from Condi, a Bob from Enough, and a Nano Boost from Kanale. And you know what? Gavi's going to throw in the Valkyrie for fun as well. This is going to be a big fight here from Panas no Ganas.
Yes, it is, and it's going to start out with a Bob on point. We're going to start proccing that percentage. Dynamite comes in as well, dealing a lot of damage from a lot of different directions. We've got Ejin out of the fight, but they are going to be resurrected. Kani does, in the meantime, though, find Toniki with Wreck him out of the fight, too. This is Unplugged's opportunity to get things going here. Self-destruct on point is going to yield just a little bit of room, not really any kills, but room is all they need at this point because the rest of the team is there on cleanup duty.
And Unplugged, it took a lot of ultimates, a lot of resources, but I think that is absolutely necessary in the position that Unplugged is in. Now, they guarantee themselves at least a tie. We will be playing a map 5 either way. The question is, will Unplugged be able to take that first point on point B, first tick on point B, and take us to a sort of decisive situation where a reverse sweep could be decided right there. 3 ultimates on both sides, but Enough is super close to yet another Bob, and those Bobs have gotten so much value so far in this map.
That they certainly have. Enough has really been the hero for Unplugged in so many ways, and in today so far. Minefield coming in now from Phage, gonna try and keep members of the backline away, and look at this. Unplugged, Panas no Ganas coming up with a nice hold here on second point. We could be, we may not have realized it, but we may have bought a ticket to draw Nomura.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tough here. Unplugged now. I mean, they didn't use very much. They used the mines from the Wrecking Ball, and then Phage is gonna swap over to Winston to give his team a little bit more shielding. I like that play here on point B. You like having that shield in a place where it's a little more closed in. And again, you have both defensive ultimates here. Condi has the nano on him. He's gonna look to end it right now.
That they are. Here comes the barrage, but the defense matrix is going to be there at least temporarily. A self-destruct's coming in. Can they get out of the way? Bob does a huge amount of damage, but so does Angrod as well. This could go either way, but the defense is going to have the spawn advantage here. Tadiki comes away with a pick onto Gavi, but they're going to be removed by Enough at the last moment. Can they come away with the final tick here? They're very close, but because of these pick trading back and forth, Panas no Ganas does have the advantage. Enough going down very low. They are going to be taken out of the fight, and with that, I believe we're going to see a hold from Panas no Ganas, but Condi not to be outdone just yet. Phage comes back in for a couple picks. Maybe this is going to go back the way of Unplugged. The Nano Boost now committed onto Angrod to try and hold on to this point for dear life. They don't want to let them come any closer to a win right here. They're going to Angrod's gonna get a Toronto kick there to get a little bit more damage, and that's gonna put a stop to this push.
A very close call there for Panas no Ganas, but they managed to hold for another fight, but it took everything. They had to use every ultimate in their bank to hold on to it, and guess who has another Bob? Enough. We can't get enough. He has
we can't.
Every single fight. Phage as well with the Primal Rage is going to be able to knock people around. Panas no Ganas, do they see this Bob coming? They know Enough was in the back just getting pot shots on him for a while in that fight. But here it comes. New engagement.
All right, and the shield is down for Ejin as well. Panas no Ganas in a rough position, especially with Winnie out of the fight. Wreckham the only heals available. Angrod has been demeched as well. There's going to be a Bob committed, but this Bob goes off point. Crucially, not where they needed it, but look at this again. Unplugged coming away with the kills they need, but
there it is.
No! They get the cap regardless. Unplugged coming back in this. They've tied up the series. We're going to a map 5. The reverse sweep is on the table.
And who else to get the play of the game but Enough? I mean, this just was an insane game from the... What?
Wow.
What?
What a shot. What a shot.
I got nothing to say. That was insane.
Yeah.
Put that on the clips.
Was.
Put that on Twitter. That was nuts. The 180 shot on the Tracer. That, I mean, Gibraltar was enough getting picks and getting in position to win because the team made space for him. This game felt a lot more like Enough just deciding, okay, we're gonna win now, and then just does it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But you know, it was Enough, but also Condi as well on the Pharah. Let's take a look at their stats as well, because they were popping off too. Both of the DPS really coming alive for this Unplugged squad. I mean, look at that, 50% weapon accuracy with a rocket launcher. That is something else right there. I mean, almost 30 elims as well. This was just a tremendous showing from Condi too. I mean, we saw how you know, their game sense was tremendous as well. They knew about that sleep in the back line. They were able to get that sleep onto the Tracer on second point. They were able to just get a nice pot shot onto them. We saw so many good shots coming out as well on first point. This was just incredible.
It was incredible. And yeah, I think Condi was able to get a lot of pressure down onto the side of Sin Panas no Ganas. And because of that, they had to commit the Diva to trying to make sure that Pharah's rockets could be mitigated as much as possible. The Diva then couldn't be on Enough. That is a big reason, I think, why Enough was able to come up big so many times near the end of that map, because they were so worried about Condi popping off.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it's when you've got two tremendous threats like this, right, between Condi and Enough, like, who do you try and mitigate? If you mitigate one, well, the other one's just free to do whatever they want. So it's really, you know, pick your poison at this point. And that's led to a great comeback here from Unplugged, and excited to see if they can finish things off. We're going to get Sin Panas no Ganas. They have decided to stake their last stand on the frigid, snowy mountainscape of Nepal.
Yeah, what an interesting map to put it on the end of. What I think they're trying to do here is they're trying to mitigate Condi and Enough's long-range damage as much as they possibly can with this map pick.
Yeah,
I think it is maybe the least Pharah-friendly map in Control. Just because, I mean, you can play it on Village, but you have a lot of shelter on the point to help you mitigate how much splash damage that Pharah can actually do. You can play it on Sanctum, but there still are a lot of closed ceilings, which again mitigates how much mobility that Pharah can have. I think there's a lot of maps in Nepal where you can play the kinds of comps that Unplugged has had success with, but it's a lot harder to get success with them just because of the map geometry. I think that's the thinking of Sin Panas no Ganas here.
Right. Yeah, you know, I think you're absolutely right. That's such an interesting point. I hadn't really thought about which, you know, how unfriendly this control center map is towards Pharah, but it truly is. This is a big brain pick coming in from Sin Panas no Ganas here, and I'm really curious to see how this works out for them as we start to load in.
Though we are starting on Shrine, which is definitely, I think, the most Pharah-friendly map on Nepal. It's a lot more open. Unlike Village, there's a lot more windows onto the point for a Pharah or an Ashe to shoot into. So Unplugged, I think, could very easily go with the same sort of composition that they've been going with, and really try and take take control, take tempo of this match early. Now we still do have 20 seconds, but I am seeing some very interesting stuff on these hero selects.
Yeah, that's true. Probably wise not to say too much about them until they come out of spawn.
Yeah,
but
100%,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah, there are some interesting picks, but it looks like both teams are going to opt for this dive kind of composition. They're going to be starting out with Wrecking Ball in both cases. So again, they're going to be looking to take a lot of different angles in every case.
Yeah, lots of angles. Once again, I think the Taniki versus Condi matchup is going to be huge. Taniki's got to have his head on a swivel for those rockets coming out from Condi. Enough is going to be on the Tracer this time around instead of the Ashe trying to help out on the dives. But the supports, I think, are huge. Canale on the Lucio is going to help Unplugged get in fast, but can't sustain them very much when they get there.
Oh my gosh, and look at this. Panas no ganas is getting once again dissected by this dive composition from Unplugged. Aid is going to be demeched as well, though. So, Panas no ganas not out of this yet, but they are close. Slam coming in from Ejin, but it's not going to result in a whole lot right there. This first fight going very quickly and convincingly the way of Unplugged.
Convincing for sure, and that's what you need here for Unplugged with this composition. You get the engage from Phage and enough. You manage to get a pick early from that, and you snowball that to a fight win. Again, if that dive goes in and it doesn't work, I think Unplugged just eventually end up losing because they don't have the healing to be able to sustain. Now, of course, the other side has Zenyatta, so not really the most healing on the other side either. Both sides are really playing for this early game.
Yeah, they certainly are, and look at this aerial duel happening right now between Condi and Toniki and their Mercies in tow as well. Just tremendous shots coming out once again from Condi. And what? Speaking of tremendous shots, finding Winnie in the backline right as they were getting ready to Valk away. That was tremendously well played. Unplugged holding on to this point over 50% now, and they've got some ultimates to hold on to it as well.
These DPS have just found another gear in the third map, fourth map, fifth map. They were looking to get completely outplayed at the start of this game, but they are just all over the place. And Panas no ganas, Bones, and Taniki are having so much trouble trying to match them. And now, Unplugged, they're coming up on a lot of ultimates, but Canale got Ajax. He used the beat. Oh no.
Yeah, this is going now very quickly the way of Panas no ganas. We've got minefields committed by both Wrecking Balls, but I feel like Phage just committed things into a lost fight as well, especially now that enough has been taken out of the fight.
Gave up the point super fast too. Canale losing that beat is actually huge. That gives you, that takes away one of the best engagement tools that you can have in this composition. Jumping in with an extra 1,000 health is amazing. And now you don't have that, and Unplugged just gonna have to go for a clean dive once again.
That they are, but they get an early pick onto Winnie, so things are looking up for Unplugged at the moment. Only 35% on the board right now, and look at that, Toniki taken out of the skies. Well, Condi coming in again, huge. Condi has just been a hero for this Unplugged team. It's just been a DPS drama here for this Unplugged side. 50% just about on the board for Panas no ganas before it goes over back in Unplugged's favor, though. They've got about 85% now on the board, but enough has been taken out. Here comes the barrage from Condi. It's going to be able to demech the D.Va, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want, as that Pharah right there, taking them out of the fight. A nice move coming in from Canale, though, is going to work things in favor of Unplugged, but that is until the DPS come alive once again for Panas no ganas. Toniki duplicates the D.Va, gets the self-destruct out as well, but look at this. Unplugged is coming back in the fight despite going down very, very low. Canale with the sound barrier able to keep them alive and keep them in this fight. Enough coming in with a couple of big picks, and now with the minefield from Phage, this is all but over. Unplugged is going to come away with this map win.
And that's incredible. Panas no ganas, they had it. They had the advantage in this fight, but they couldn't finish off the last stragglers, and that has been really the killer for some panas no ganas right now. These DPS,
Yeah.
these supports, they manage to sustain, to stay in the fight, to get value just long enough for their fast tanks and fast team members to come back and give them reinforcements. Toniki went to Ash, tried to snipe Condi out of the sky, didn't work. Went to Echo, tried to win the air battle, didn't work. Now, if this holds for the next 10 seconds, we might be seeing a far on both sides, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that at all. So panas no ganas instead are going to go with a 6-man rush comp, try and just take shelter underneath the point and just hold the line for as long as they can to see if they can outlast the barrage of Condi.
That they will. They're going to try and attempt to do that. Nice slam coming in here from Phage. And now that we have reached the 11th hour, we see Unplugged for the very first time in the lead in this matchup. We've got a couple of picks coming in favor of them as well. They're going to come away with this first fight win too. Caterpick comes in for Bones, but I don't think it's going to be enough to hack onto Conde. Not going to do enough either. And with that, this first point going to be captured again by Unplugged, and with a very unique composition on this map.
And that's brutal for some panas no ganas. You needed that first point win. You needed control of the point so that you could take cover underneath the shelter. Now Condi has basically free reign. And I mean,
gosh.
what is panas no ganas going to do about it? And God can eat a couple rockets, but other than that, you have absolutely nothing.
No, Reckham is really the only person who can really get any damage up that high in the sky with any kind of regularity. Nice stick coming out. It's going to demech Aid, and Bones is there to finish them off right afterwards. So this point might flip back over in Sintana's favor very, very quickly. Conde tries to come in with a barrage. It does find one, but they are taken out by Winnie shortly after that. Axe coming in as well onto Gabi. That's going to take them out of the fight right before they get that Valkyrie as well. And this is going a little bit better for Sinpanas now.
Yeah, now some panas no ganas is actually looking to push on their advantage. Going to stagger out Aid. That's big. Now leave him. Yup, they're going to leave him out of mech. Force him to either stay as Baby Diva or go back to spawn. And is, in fact, going to opt to go back to spawn. Oh, wait, what's this? The rest of Unplugged are going in anyways without their Diva. It's disastrous.
That
the
it is.
EMP comes in. What are they doing?
Yeah, that EMP was tremendous. What a great play there coming out from Toniki. Showing just why they are such a standout player for Sinpanas no ganas. And now the ulta advantage firmly in favor of Sinpanas as well.
Yeah. Firmly.
They're going to commit the sound barrier as well for this engagement. 8 is going to be hacked, so they're not going to be able to hold on to their mech as well. Nice minefield coming out from Phage to split members of Sinpanas no ganas. But they're going to be able to get away from the damage with relative ease, actually. Sinpanas no ganas back in the lead now in terms of ult percentage, or point percentage, but with a nice pulse bomb onto Ejin, things are going a little poorly for them. Kaneo drops the sound barrier as well for Unplugged, giving them more pushing power onto point. Angrod has been demech. They're going to throw out the self-destruct. They try to go for the kill, but not quite able to get it. Condi comes in with another nice shot onto Reckham, though. 78% on the board. Sinpanas no ganas, despite losing this fight, is getting a lot of value out of it still. In fact, Condi goes down right as they get that barrage, so Sinpanas no ganas may come away with the fight win here. And with 90% on the board, they just have to win one more.
Yeah, looks like this will eventually move over to Unplugged's favor, and it does right there. But with just staggering and staying in the fight, Sinpanas no ganas are able to take what could have flipped at maybe 60-70% and make it 90%. Unplugged, I mean, there's no room for error anymore. You give up this point at this point in the match, you're basically ensured a trip to Sanctum. So Unplugged, if they want to pull off this reverse sweep, they have to hold here.
Yeah, that they do. It's going to be a tough call, though. But they have quite a few ultimates in the bank to make it work. Hack comes in, though, and enough is taken out of the fight, especially after that pulse bomb gets eaten. The point flips back over in favor of Sinpanas no ganas. Javi pops the Valkyrie to try and keep their team up. Phage drops the landmines onto point as well. Self-destruct coming in from A to try and clear the point too, but it only allows them to do that for a moment. Angrod has been demech though, so things once again looking a little bit better for Unplugged. Can they come away with a win right here? They desperately want it, they desperately need it, and it looks like they're going to get it despite the Primal Rage being committed by Ejin as well.
But again, it looks like they're going to be able to flip it over. But Panas and Ganas, with their engage, they forced Unplugged off the point long enough to flip it back. And because of that, what could have been percent building up for Unplugged was just Panas and Ganas at 99% in overtime. If Unplugged hadn't given up the point right now, we could be celebrating a reverse sweep. Instead, Panas and Ganas has one more fight with a pulse bomb from Bones and the coalescence from Wreckham.
Yeah, this could be big. As long as Wreckham can stay alive, Bones gonna try and get a little bit of damage onto that D.Va. They need to get them demexed so that that pulse bomb can hit with impunity. There's gonna be a little bit of poke coming in now from the Lucio as well. When he comes out with a big pick onto Connie, that could be huge for Panas and Ganas. The resurrection is gonna come in, but in the meantime, Toniki finds Kaneo. Self-destruct gets committed as well. The remake gets Bones. 8 comes in huge right there. This could be Unplugged coming away with the win. There's picks on either side, though. It could go either way. 8 finds Ejin, though, so things looking a little bit better for Unplugged right now. They may be securing their spot in the playoffs, and Panas and Ganas already has theirs. But Unplugged desperately don't want to have to rely on winning the next map. Huge NBA comes in, but with overtime taking over, that's going to do it. The reverse sweep is real. Unplugged comes away with the win.
What a fantastic game from the entirety of Unplugged to get themselves their 4th win in this group. This now makes things very, very interesting in the overall group dynamic of Iberia, but we'll talk about that in a second. First of all, we have to just give huge props to the team of Unplugged. They held strong through some insane adversity in this game, and it pulled them through to keep them alive in this group.
I mean, think about where we started, right? Or maybe not exactly where we started, but think back, right, to Numbani and how dominant Panas and Ganas looked on that map. I mean, I thought, you stay neutral, right, as a caster, but I thought there was next to no chance that Unplugged was going to come back after having taken such a stomping on that map. But kudos to them and to their mental for being able to hold on to this win. That you've really got to give a lot of props to Unplugged for so many reasons. I mean, the DPS were phenomenal, the supports were phenomenal, the tanks created so much space. Let's take a look, though. I want to take a look at this Tracer duel. Let's take a look at these stats right here to get an idea of what was happening between Enough and Bones. And look at the difference. I mean, it was a close match on the pole, but not when you look at these Tracer stats.
Only about 1,000 points of damage behind for Bones on just the damage done, but the elims. The elims are so crazy. Enough is able to get in the back, take out the squishier targets, finish off heroes at a better rate than Bones could. And Enough, I mean, I'll say it again, can't get enough.
Yes, exactly.
He can't get enough. There's jokes all over the place for it. Okay.
Right.
So take a deep breath, and now let's set things up here in the Iberian group, because we're not done. We got one more game to go after this, and let's set up the picture here. Panas and Ganas will end. They're done. They're done in the group. They're going to end at 4-1. They are going to be in the top 2. They're going to make the playoffs. And Zonix, otherwise in the group, have won over Red Lynx, meaning they are at 3-1. Unplugged at 4-0. They're not done yet. They still have to win this fight to guarantee. I'm not sure how the math works out, but we could very easily see 3 4-1 teams in this group.
We
then
could
Zonix is able to pull off the upset.
We could.
And then I actually have no idea how the tiebreakers work. But
pandemonium will ensue.
Unplugged, and honestly, Panas and Ganas, for that matter, are not out of the woods just yet. If Unplugged are able to win, it's an undefeated record. It's going to be then Panas in the playoffs. If then Zonix are able to win, then we're in chaos mode. Basically, that's what's going on.
Yeah, that's got to sting for Panas and Ganas, because this you know, their future is not in their control anymore, right? It not fully in their control anymore. So that's, you know, we didn't really think about that beforehand, but there were some kind of severe consequences to them taking this L. They are not guaranteed, I don't believe, a spot in the playoffs at this point, because yeah,
Not
we
yet.
could have a three-way tie for first place. I don't know what the tiebreaker rules are for this tournament. You know, maybe we go to map differential or something, but this is something else. This is really made for a very, very interesting next match.
Yeah, 100%. So we're going to go to a quick break here. And when we come back, the final match of the group, it's going to be Unplugged versus Entronics with so much on the line. You're not going to want to miss it. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you then.
I can take the pain you hold inside. I wanna know, wanna see it. Can I feel your grip tonight? Can't get this off my mind. Does it only control you? Let me in, I'll help you out. I won't lose you this time. I wanna know, wanna see it. Can I feel your grip tonight? Can't get this off my mind. Does it only control you? Let me in, I'll help you out. I won't lose you this time.
Heart overhead, and I guess love to watch the way you made me into a mess. Hands on my dress, neon red. My mind is a minefield. Watch your step, that's not a threat, no. My heart is a house of cards. They had those shaky hands, they let me fall apart. And I know it shows, yeah. You keep me on my toes, yeah. Just one more song, yeah, yeah. exactly what to do to blow my mind. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon. Take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed, got me starry-eyed. This bed is out of space, just keep painting constellations. You cover me in glitter till I'm shining bright. I never wanna leave the sky. The way you made me feel alive. I was in the dark and baby, you're the light. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the I know the story of your life through winter storms and summer skies. There was a time when you were young and free. So let's go back to the beaches where I always make you laugh, to the forest where we found a hidden path, to the summertime of 2005, when we were still alive, when we were still alive. So let's go back to the beaches where I always make you laugh, to the forest where we found a hidden path, to the summertime of 2005, when we were still alive, when we were still alive. 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 There you go again, looking so handsome. Oh, you have your way, and it's making me weaken. You and your stylist, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. How I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. No one makes me feel like you do, and no one sets my body on fire, and no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. And no one makes me feel like you do, and no one sets my body on fire. No one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it Oh, no one does it
One more wine, one more whiskey, and we just kept the car in park and dim the headlights so we see the stars. Let them tell us where we should start. And I'm scared as hell because there's no way to know how this goes, but I can't help but say I promise to give you my all, but it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down, but it might break.
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is going to be able
Oh,
to follow
no.
up. Talking
You
about
let
jumping
him
over to the
play
Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, he just got eviscerated.
Oh! He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now. This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back then.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Hebot going absolutely massive.
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
It might break me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, hello and welcome back to the broadcast. We just saw a very exciting match between Unplugged and Sin Panas No Ganas, and now we've got Unplugged going up against Enzonix. And this matchup will determine who is going into the playoffs. There are 3 teams right now vying for that top spot, but it has not been decided at all, Dividing.
No, there is so much still up in the air. For those of you just joining us, Unplugged got a massive win against Sin Panas No Ganas earlier on in the stream, but they lost earlier on in today's matchups. So, no, sorry, Unplugged hasn't lost yet. They're 4-0 right now, going for an undefeated record. And Zonix is 3-1, looking to get to 4-1. Sin Panas No Ganas is also 4-1, and that's where they're going to stay. Which means, basically, Unplugged has a chance to wipe it all away right here, and punch themselves a ticket to the playoffs. And if they lose, and I think it's a very specific number, yes, if they lose 3-0, Enzonix will jump either them, well, probably jump them because they would have beaten them for that last playoff spot. Unplugged, all they need is 1 map win to get themselves into the playoffs. And, well, I mean, I really like the gumption here. I don't know if this was picked or if it was it probably wasn't picked, but we're going to Nepal, which is where Unplugged actually got their reverse sweep victory in the last match.
Yes. It seems very fitting, doesn't it? It almost brings it all full circle. So, if they can replicate the win that they just got on Nepal, then they punch their ticket, like you said, to the playoffs, and that would secure Sin Panas No Ganas a slot in the playoffs as well. So, this is going to be a very... everything is on the line in this very first map for Enzonix, and for the other 2 teams as well. And Sin Panas No Ganas, I imagine they're going to be watching this with bated breath to see what happens.
There is a lot of drama here. Let's take a look at the team's rosters as we head into it. And, oh man, we've got to see if Denial and Mazzino on that DPS can hold up to enough. And Condi, the DPS players of Unplugged, found a new gear in the second half of their game versus Sin Panas No Ganas, and completely dismantled that team. We need to see... We're hoping that maybe Denial and Mazzino are better up to the task. They have to be if Enzonix want to be playing next week.
Yeah, that is very true. And, you know, there's a lot of good... lot of players that I recognize on this Enzonix squad. Denial, David Enzo, Karen Gorm. These are players that I've seen play in other tournaments and know that they've got what it takes to pop off. And as we load into Nepal, we're going to be back right at the very first submap we were on in our last matchup, too.
I mean, it's like we're watching the same thing again. It's crazy.
It certainly is. Gonna get a quick sneak peek into what both these teams are thinking of running out on. I believe Metas is likely trolling in spawn at the moment. Dive is a really good option, though, on this map. So I'm anticipating this is what we saw from Unplugged in the last matchup. I don't anticipate we see much of a change coming out from their lineup before the spawn doors open.
Oh, absolutely not. This worked out for them versus Sin Panas No Ganas in the last fight, so there's no reason not to go for it again. But Enzonix are going to go with something that is a little bit different here. Are we... seeing a bit of an AFK member? Karen Gorm hasn't actually picked a character yet. But, you know, maybe we don't have a pause being called. Either they haven't noticed or they think they can win 5v6. And, yeah, okay. They've noticed now. And we still don't have a pause, which is concerning.
That is concerning, yeah.
Where is Karen Gorm? Where in the world is Karen Gorm?
Yeah, Karen Gorm is nowhere to be seen, unfortunately. There is going to be a pick onto Meta's Euro, but yeah, I'm very curious as to why we haven't gotten a pause yet either. It looks like both teams realize what's going on, and Unplugged is being kind there, just waiting. Hello, Gavi. Nice to see you, Mercy, right there underneath the elephant statue. Point is going to go flip over now to Unplugged.
I mean, they don't want to flip the point with 5v6.
Yeah.
Clearly, Unplugged doesn't want to win like that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
We're in this. Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but we're in this weird situation here where the teams are kind of fighting, but not really. I'm not really sure how to cast this. I really feel like there should be a pause until we can confirm what's up with Cairngorm, but...
Yeah, possibly at this point even, I feel like you almost need a restart to the map as well. I really like this sportsmanship coming out from Unplugged right now. Sir Freezy right there takes Gavi out of the picture, but, you know, that's not gonna really mean much.
Seems like our lobby leader is AFK as well as Cairngorm, unfortunately. So.
Oh yeah, that is what has happened. So a little bit of a we are casting EU, but a little bit of an NA moment, shall we say, for us here in the casting booth. Really sorry to see Cairngorm not being able to load in. I hope they are able to get their, you know, computer problems fixed relatively soon. But we can take a moment to talk about, you know, like, oh, look at this. This is fascinating right here. It's like a little what is that? What is that little, you know, like the clacking ball toy?
We got the reset.
Cradle, Newton's
back,
cradle.
lobby host.
It was like a Newton's cradle going on there between the two wrecking balls. Yeah, we are back now to our lovely faces. So yeah,
We're just sitting down enjoying the show.
Yeah, exactly. Not exactly the exciting rip-roaring start that we had anticipated for this first map, but I'm sure we'll get back into it very quickly, very shortly. But for the moment, why don't we take a pause here in the casting booth as well, while Cairngorm gets their internet sorted out. We'll be back here very shortly.
When we were 15, I remember car rides, small fights, conversations all night. I never saw you as anything more than a friend, but now I see you in a new light. We're getting older, there's a sparkle in your eyes that wasn't there before. You give me butterflies, it makes me wonder if there could be something more.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We have successfully reloaded Nepal, and we aren't going to be headed to Shrine first. We are instead going to be headed to Sanctum. Cairngorm has reconnected, and we are ready to go.
Yeah, moment of truth here, probably in 5 seconds. Does Cairngorm choose a hero this time around?
Right?
Not
We
yet.
will see. We will see. No, not yet. I've got my fingers crossed though.
Hey,
that
man,
we will
it'd
be good
really
to go.
cool if I could see a character from Cairngorm, so then I could start talking about this. Sanctum is very interesting. Excuse me. Just in general. Hey, there it is. Baptiste from Cairngorm. Okay, we're good.
Woohoo!
Excuse me. This is very interesting, though, because this is the Nepal map that we actually didn't see from
You're right.
Unplugged in their map 5. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they decide to play. They still got Kandi on that Farah, but this is the one map on Nepal where Farah can only go up so high because there's a ceiling over the point.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The skybox really is very restrictive for the Farah, but Kandi is still going to try and make it work here. A little bit of chip damage being thrown in now to the Shield of Metas. Mazzino gets a pick onto Phage, though, so things not starting out great for Unplugged right here, but we saw how they got off to a slow start last time, so could be just fine for them as well. Points unlocked now, and Enzonix has moved on to it with the Brawl composition. They're going to try and stay out of the way of this chip damage coming in from Kandi. Gets a nice concussive blast, but doesn't result in any kills just yet. Point has now flipped over in favor of Enzonix, and now they go to hide in the back room, and the fight breaks out there, and it comes in very heavily in favor of Enzonix. They were able to just walk over what was left of Unplugged.
Yeah, great engagement there from Enzonix. They did a great job with their brawl-based composition of just taking control of the point early, and Denial on this Cassidy doing a good job of trying to mitigate Kandi's impact on this first fight.
Yeah, we've got a couple of picks coming in for either side at the moment. David Enzo's out of the fight for Enzonix, for Freezy goes down as well, and now things really starting to come together for Unplugged as the Barrage yields 1 kill. A couple more coming in favor of them, and with that, Unplugged is going to flip the point in their favor as soon as they get rid of these last few stacks.
Unplugged are going to be able to flip the point here. That was a nice little thread the needle sort of shot there onto Denial as he was sitting behind the Rhine shield. Kandi's just able to fit a rocket behind him, take out the Cassidy, and that's the main threat there for Kandi. And without him in the fight, Kandi's able to just go to work. And now Unplugged has the point, but Phage goes off the map. Uh-oh. That's a big uh-oh moment. Enzonix said, oh,
wow. Yeah, look at the self-destruct coming in from David Enzo. Absolutely fantastic. Takes the Pharmacy out of the sky. And with that, they're going to get an opportunity to push back onto point and really try and take control of it once again. Ada's going to be demech as well. Phage almost goes down the pit from the hack, but is able to stay on the firm ground, but not for long. And Enzonix has the point again.
I don't know what Phage was doing that ended up with him falling off the map, but that's awful. Unplugged, they had the ultimate advantage in that fight. They had everything they needed to keep holding on to it, but I mean, when the other team doesn't have a wrecking ball, and Enzonix is smart enough to know that 6 players is more than 5 players, and they're able to go in and get the win off of that. Now Enzonix has the point with 4 ultimates.
Yeah, that they do. Gavi comes in, tries to get the Valk online, but is taken out of the sky by Cairngorm. A sound barrier now committed as well from Enzonix to try and keep their members alive and up and allow them to push in very aggressively. Shatter comes in as well right after the minefield committed. Cairngorm out of the fight. Now it's just Sir Freezy's heals on point. Mazzino comes in with an EMP, catches 3-8, goes down from it almost immediately. Kandi briefly grounded as well, and nobody from Unplugged touches. Look at this. We could go the map differential to determine who's going into the playoffs. This is close.
It is incredibly close. I think 1 round of Nepal isn't quite enough for me to start ringing the doom bells for all you Unplugged fans out there, but it was a very strong play from Enzonix. They were able to deal with this. They were able to deal with the Pharah play from Kandi way better than Singanas did at the start of that game, and we'll see if they're able to continue doing it, because Unplugged seems to has no intention of changing anything up. Enzonix, though, have the same plan here. This is going to be interesting. Things are a lot more open on Shrine, so who knows if maybe Kandi will be able to find a little more value.
Yeah, that's absolutely the question to ask right here, because Kandi was the standout player for Unplugged in that last matchup. But they really were getting kind of mitigated by Cairngorm. I think the Baptiste is really proving very, very useful in this running, in this team composition. Phage goes down though early once again for Unplugged, and Enzonix looking pretty strong right here.
Yeah, quite strong. They've taken control of the point right here, but Kandi is just chunking in over and over again. We're about to get to the ultimate phase of the game. Enough and Kandi are both 80% plus theirs, and it's actually Cairngorm who gets the first check mark on the screen. Ant Matrix down.
Yeah, and with that out, 8 is going to be demeched as well, so things not looking too great for Unplugged once again. Kandi does have the barrage online though, but they need to find an opportunity. Enough though, opens things up with a pick onto Sir Freezy, and with that, Unplugged gonna come away with this first fight win after a very prolonged engagement.
Very prolonged. It was looking good there for Enzonic for a second, but Unplugged are able to play around with the space that Shrine gives them a lot better than on Sanctum. They're able to kite out of the way of the amplification matrix. Condi from above just raining down damage the entire time. Nice pulse bomb from Enough as well. And now, Unplugged, they have control. They have a lot of ults, but Enough goes down early. Gets caught up by Mizzino. That's huge for Enzonics.
Yeah, that is absolutely massive for them. If they can come on, then the hack onto Phage as well. Denial's going to be able to finish them off in very short order. Condi, though, still has this barrage ready to go. Maybe they can turn things around for them. If nothing else, they can at least stagger out this point for a while. The hack does come in onto Condi. They're going to go down very low. But the sound barrier is there from Kanile. That was absolutely tremendously well-timed right there. Enough comes away with a pick onto Mizzino, and despite the point flipping over in favor of Enzonics, things are going the way of Unplugged right now. That is until Enough is taken out of the fight by Sir Freezy. Self-destruct now on point from Aid. Is he gonna get anybody? No, not this time around, but the point is still in favor of Enzonics, and that barrage didn't get anything. Condi held onto it so long, but it was all for naught, and now Enzonics has just about equalized the point capture percentage, and Unplugged isn't gonna win this fight.
This feels like the kryptonite here for Unplugged on Control. We saw it last match as well, where Unplugged, they play this super spread out composition, but that means there isn't much point presence. You really are just relying on Phage to be tiptoeing in and off the point, while everyone else is going around getting those flanks and off angles. And when it doesn't happen, we end up in a situation like this, where Enzonics flip the point early, and instead of this being maybe 60-10 right now, instead it's 30-60.
Oh, and what a tremendous Deadeye coming out from Denial as well. Normally it's just a space denial thing, but Denial denied life this time to members of Unplugged, and that is so a huge fight win for them right
Huge.
there.
Yeah, sorry. It's a huge fight. You win it with just the Deadeye, and now you're going to have Shatter, you're going to have EMP, and this is most likely last fight scenario.
Yeah, this certainly is. And at this point, Enzonics is staying alive. They know they have to win all three maps here, and that's exactly what they're looking to do. Big EMP is going to come in from Mizzino. It grounds the Pharmacy in the sky. There's now a big push on to the rest of the members with 96% on the board. This is going to be all Enzonics all the way. What a tremendous start to our second matchup of the day, Dividing.
This was exactly what Enzonics needed, and I'm curious, actually, if any of the members of Enzonics were watching the stream before this game, because it seemed like there was a heightened focus on Condi and making sure that Pharah could be as the least effective as it could be. I mean, look, David throwing a bomb up on the top to take out Condi. We saw on multiple occasions where Mizzino used the teleporter to get up to the Pharah and hack her or EMP her. Just disrupt the Pharah's momentum as much as possible.
Yeah, that was just tremendous play coming out from both sides right there. But Enzonics really coming alive and showing us that we can't count them out of these playoffs just yet. They are gunning for it, and they are gunning for it hard, and they have got a great start to getting their way there. 3-0 is their benchmark. That's what they have to get to stay alive, and they have gotten their first step of the way there.
Yep. 1-0. Enzonics survives Nepal and still have playoff hopes intact. Again, well, it's still an uphill climb. They still have to win 2 more, and 2 more maps that Unplugged is going to choose.
That's true. Unplugged does have the choice here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we head back to Numbani. But let's take a quick look at the stats for Mizzino on Sombra, because they were just a phenomenal force. I mean, look at that weapon accuracy, 40%, 14 elims as well. Only 3 EMPs, but they got tremendous value, each one of them. So, you know, they did what they needed to do for their team.
I'm looking at the offensive assist here, because that usually means hacks. And Mizzino, Mizzino getting a hack off on a player, and then the rest of the team instantly turning on that player, taking them out before they get their abilities back. That is the beauty of Sombra in a Brawl comp, and it was used to perfection on Nepal.
Yes, it certainly was. And we are actually going to be headed to what you would think would be a snowy locale, but is not, in fact. We are going to Blizzard World next. So this is quite the departure from what we saw earlier. I'm curious about Unplugged's choice here, but I like it.
It is really interesting here. Of course, if you do want to stick onto that Pharah, there is a lot of room on points A and B for Condi to do so. It's a bit more of a pokey map, I want to say, especially on the defense.
Right.
There's a lot of space for the attacking team to cover. So that usually means you end up with a sort of bunker situation on defense and a dive situation on offense, which for Unplugged was kind of a hit and miss situation. It worked out pretty well for them at times, but then, you got that Numbani map.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That was quite a shocker, I think, for Unplugged, but they were able to come back from it. And you know what? We've seen the mental fortitude that they have in the past, and I think we're going to see that again coming out on Blizzard World. I'm excited to see what kind of a defense or an attack they're going to come off with, because they have chosen attack first, it looks like. Or rather, the defense was chosen by Enzonix.
Yes. I am actually really curious as well, because Enzonix are playing a very, preventative style right now.
Yes.
They are not really... The way they get value in these fights is by preventing Unplugged from getting value, right? By countering Condi, by countering Phage and enough, making sure that they can't go around and do everything they want on the map. On defense, that's going to stay the same. But I'm curious how Enzonix will play when they're on attack and they kind of have to set the tempo.
Yeah, me as well. That's a very good point. We didn't really see them. They played to the tempo of Unplugged, so that's going to be very interesting to see how they handle attack. They're going to opt for Brawl on defense, which I feel like is not the typical choice that you see these days. But they've shown their prowess on this composition, so I don't question it.
Yeah, if it's what Enzonix feels comfortable on, that is exactly what they're going to do. It's basically a repeat of Nepal, and you know what? They're going up to Unplugged, and they're saying, we dare you to beat us on this comp. This is what we are going to throw at you, and you just got to find an answer. The start, there's a little bit of a DPS swap up from Unplugged. Enough is going to be on the Ashe this time around, and Condi shifts over to the Tracer. And also Kanale is going to be on the Zenyatta to make those dives from Phage all the more deadly.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking to them to disrupt this high ground position fairly early on. Imagine seeing Phage roll through to try and knock a couple people off that high ground. But they're going to have to get through Mazzino as well. So having that Sombra in the lineup for Enzonix is really going to make these dives much more difficult for Phage.
Just
as we see, Unplugged start to rotate the point.
Yeah, the Sombra is actually doing a really good job at making Unplugged play with just a little bit more caution. You can't get away with whatever you want because you will get hacked up and taken out immediately. And you see Unplugged are just kind of hanging around, feeling it out, trying to figure out their best entryway into this point.
Yeah, and with Conde combining with Phage on this backline, they're able to keep this Sombra largely at bay. Mazzino has to be forced out, but in the meantime, on point, Denial's able to get a pick onto Unplugged. Hack comes in onto Phage as well, and that might signal the end of this very first push for Unplugged.
Yeah, we'll see what they do about it. Mazzino was able to distract so many members of Unplugged there by just hanging out on his own hacked health pack and just getting healed up, wasn't getting taken out. But now Enzonix, they're going to push through. They're going to go really aggressive.
Yeah, that they are. Denial's going to use this Deadeye once again to try and keep members of Unplugged away from point. They were successful in that, but Unplugged now coming alive. They got 3 really fast ticks. 2 coming in, though, in favor of Enzonix as well. Can they turn this around? It's now a 3v3 on point. David Enzo coming in big with a couple of kills for Enzonix. Gonna stop this push. And we've already burned off half the amount of time. Never mind, it looks like Enzonix is gonna back up off of point. They're gonna give 1 tick away to Unplugged, but Unplugged, they don't quite have the presence to stay on point and continue this push. They need to get a few more picks in here. And the Pulse Bomb gets eaten as well.
David Enzo comes up massive, and now Enzonix, they've been given enough time to push through, and Zeno actually used the EMP, but I actually didn't hear it go off. Did he get stunned in the middle of it? I'm not sure. But that's a huge ultimate that's now off the board for Enzonix, and Spreezy has to use Beat to keep everyone alive.
Kaneo's going to respond with a Transcendence of their own as David Enzo pops that self-destruct. They are going to find Gavi, so once again, Unplugged on the back foot with just a minute and a half to go. Self-destruct from Aid, though, is going to find Cairngorm, so now, without those big heals for Enzonix, things may turn around for Unplugged as that damage from the Discord Orb is really proving to be tremendously useful. They are going to come away with the point capture.
Unplugged finally pushed through, but Enzonix made it very tough on them. Only about a minute on the clock. I think that is a hold that you are very happy with if you're Enzonix there. You got 3 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. You have so much high ground to take advantage of here. You have Deadeye, Shatter, Amplification Matrix that can just keep Unplugged at bay and keep whittling time off the clock. It is not Unplugged's friend right now.
No, it certainly isn't. They spent a lot of time getting through that first point, which I feel like can go very quickly to the attackers more times than not. A little bit of card progress has been made right now, but Enzonix, like you said, has all of these ultimates ready to go. Phage is going to try and get that minefield online as quickly as they can, because that could be a great engagement tool. But once again, they've got to watch out for Mazzino, and they know they have the EMP online as well. Phage is going to roll in for a little bit of damage, trying to get that minefield up, but the EMP does come in. Charge just misses from Metas Euro right there, but what doesn't miss is the Pulse Bomb. So Freezy is able to get a kill onto Gavi, and with that, Unplugged is going to be forced to back off once again.
And this is what Brawl is so good at, staying in a space and sustaining yourself until you can find an opening in the overall fight. And Enzonix just hung around in the choke point for a long time, taking tons of damage, but eventually Enzonix was able to find the opening. But now, with Kano getting the pick off on the denial, this should be the point where they can get some cart push.
It is going to give them a little cart push, but they don't have any ultimates really to speak of. Ada's going to get their self-destruct soon, but that's not really a hugely impactful one. Certainly not as impactful as a well-placed Pulse Bomb. Karen is going to pop the Amplification Matrix to try and keep members of Unplugged at bay, and it's working out in phase as both supports are out for Unplugged now. There's very little they're going to be able to do with that. The stick does come in, but it's going to be all for naught as the rest of the team is just falling by the wayside.
And Unplugged now, you're looking at the clock and sweating. A minute and 20 seconds, maybe two good fights you can get out of this, and your ult bank is not looking too great. Enough is swapped onto the Sombra, so if you could potentially get an EMP still out of this attack if you are efficient enough with her. But you do have the EMP on the other side, as well as the beat from Senior Freezy to really dissuade that.
Yeah, with that, Sir Freezy's definitely going to have to try and hide from that EMP, but Enough doesn't have it close enough yet. Denial going down very low. They do get the stick onto the mech of Aid, but they don't go down very low. Hack does come in as well onto the Mercy, but they're unable to finish off the kill right there, and Unplugged is making some great card progress. Metas Euro now forced to drop down on the cart and start contesting it as they're getting a lot of work done right here. Sound barrier has to be popped now by Sir Freezy, but it's not enough to keep Metas Euro in the fight. Another stick comes in. David Enzo gonna be demeched as well, and Unplugged coming alive once again at the last moment. This time they're gonna be able to finish this point barely with any time remaining versus a minute for first point, so they are losing time as they move.
Vizina really tried to play hero there, EMPing in the back on both supports, but you really needed the help from the rest of your team to push in. You were able to get the Zen, but the Mercy survives and it just rests them back up.
What an EMP coming in from Mazzino, though, to start things off for Enzonix. They get a couple of picks, but a couple of picks have come in favor of Unplugged as well. They just have a couple meters to go, and they get it! They step off the point for just long enough to allow Unplugged a little extra time to live. They are pushing this for all it's worth.
Some great tenacity there from Unplugged. They have been challenged at every point during this Blizzard World map. But enough. Phage, Condi, Canale, they are doing just enough to keep pushing through. A minute left on the clock requires a perfect point C attack in order to finish this map. And into 4 ultimates from Enzonix is going to be an uphill climb, but they know uphill climbs. They've gone through plenty of them.
That is true, they have. And with an early pick on the denial as well, Enzonix is going to have a rough time of this hold. Phage has the minefield. They can buy a lot of space with that if they can get in there, but Mazzino is eyeing them. They're waiting for that minefield to come out so that they can EMP it and take them all offline. They do get detected in the backline briefly, but they're able to kite away from it. Here comes the EMP. It catches out both support this time, but Canale comes up with a huge headshot onto Mazzino. And Enzonix, though, is going to be able to get the kills onto the support line of Unplugged, so Unplugged going to be forced to back off for the moment. At least that's what I thought until Enough had something to say about this. And Menace is taken out of the fight. Mazzino swapping over to a Widow, which I feel like is a very odd choice here on this last point.
So winnable for Unplugged. 4 ultimates in the EMP, but Enough gets taken out before he can use it. That's massive.
That is absolutely huge. Condi has this pulse bomb. They need it to be big, but they're going to have to wait out this sound barrier now as well. Amplification matrix up 2 from Cairn. That's going to make things very difficult. Stun comes out onto Condi, and they're not going to get an opportunity to use that pulse bomb as the self-destruct comes in as well. And members of Unplugged are just falling by the wayside. The 6-man EMP is going to be all for naught as well. And that's going to be where the cart stops for Unplugged.
Yeah, that was, I'm sure, a little bit frustrating for Enough there. Uses the EMP and then just stands still. No, there's nothing that he can do by himself in that situation.
Yep.
You really needed that EMP to land at the start of that fight, but the DPS of Enzonix come through, pick the Sombra off early when they needed to the most. And because of that, Enzonix are able to keep Unplugged from capturing the whole map. So win condition has now been set. 2 points, 88.55 meters. And again, we're going to keep bringing it up because this is the storyline. And Enzonix has 0 room for error.
Right. That is so true. And you know what? They're playing like it too. They know they have 0 room for error, and they're doing a phenomenal job of holding back this Unplugged squad. Now, they do have a tough road ahead of them, but it's very doable. They didn't full cap, so it's definitely winnable for Enzonix here. This is one of the first times we're going to see Unplugged out on the Brawl composition, so curious to see how this is going to go for them.
We've seen Phage on basically every main tank hero except Reinhardt for the most part, so and Enough on the Cassidy for the first time. This is a very new look coming out from Unplugged. My question here is this what they planned from the beginning, or is this them trying to adjust something they're not as comfortable with in order to, they think, deal better with Enzonix? Because if that's true, that means Enzonix is setting the pace, and Unplugged is trying to respond to them, which is not where you want to be.
That's a very good point, and that's not a typical place for Unplugged to be. They're used to being down, but they're, you know, even when they were playing against Los Panas, they were still setting the tempo, right? They were still calling the shots in terms of the compositions. We've got a Brawl breaking out now on the left side of point. Phage trying to get in a little bit more damage than their counterpart Menace, and they're able to, at least initially, getting up a little bit closer to that Shatter, which could be the first ultimate online. Never mind, Cairngorm already has theirs. Enzonix taking a lot of damage, but what that means is that the support ults are going to come out first. Canale, though, gets Mazzino in the backline, so now this is going to be a very tough push. Enzonix has spent a lot of time rotating around to the backside of point. Here comes that amplification matrix now, tries to get a fire strike through it, but is unable to get one. Charge coming back now from Phage to try and get back to the rest of their team to shield them. Denial going down very low, but they're going to get the high ground positioning now, at least for a moment. Nice shot coming in from Canale, finds the head of Denial right there. So this is a very expensive push coming out from Enzonix that hasn't gotten anything yet.
Yeah, it's really tough here from Enzonix. Now we'll see a couple of swaps. Mazzino's going to move on to the Hanzo now. Try and get a little more long-range damage going on, but Condi's is cleaning up here. and Unplugged is in a fantastic situation. Aid's gonna go ahead and go off the map to make sure that he can come back with a mech. And I'm curious to see what that self-destruct percentage is at. Oh, it's at 96%. Okay, this is a 6 ult fight for Unplugged here. And, I mean, that one fight took 2 minutes off the clock. I mean, on that pace, this is Zonic's last fight.
Yeah, that's a good point. It certainly is. They're going to take a much more direct route to point this time. Kanale going to pop that amplification matrix. That's going to cause Enzonic to rotate around to the other side of the point. At least for a moment, they're just going to back up to get away from that damage. They do, in fact, decide to rotate around to the other side of point, but now they're going to rotate back around. They're just playing do-si-do at this point. Enough has had enough and takes out Mazzino as they try to take an off angle. Sound barrier comes in, but it's not going to be quick enough to save enough this time around. Immortality Field has to be committed by Kanale as well, as the Mayball comes up. Doesn't catch anybody this time, so they're now going to have to try a little bit harder to get Phage out into a position they don't want to be. We've got just a minute left on the clock now, and Unplugged has to be feeling really good about where they are.
This is so much pressure now, and Enzonic and Phage has decided it's time to go in. Medeus is taken for a ride and taken down. And now Enzonics are in a lot of pressure. They have DMEC Aid again, and the ults are a lot more even. We're gonna have self-destruct from David. We're gonna have Blizzard from Denial. We've got Dragon Strike from Mazzino as well. Basically everything except Shatter. But they gotta get to the point. They got 20 seconds.
And this is their do or die moment. Remember, if they take one loss here, they are kicked from the playoffs. So this last fight, everything is riding on it for Enzonic. They pop the Dragon Strike. Here comes the Blizzard as well, but Denial's going to be taken out of the fight. The self-destruct does find Phage, so that's a boon for them. They've got 2 picks on the board, but they're a little bit worse for wear at the moment, and they don't touch! They don't touch. Unplugged takes the map win, and that is going to secure their spot in the playoffs alongside Los Panos, sorry, I forgot their name. It's been so long since we've seen them. But the top 2 teams are going to go forward now into the playoffs. And Zonics missed their slot. They had a tough road ahead of them, and they don't quite make it. But what a showing from them. Now, we've still got the rest of the match to watch out, but with less stakes on the line.
Yeah, I mean, Unplugged 100% deserved this. I want to be clear. Unplugged came through so much to defeat Panas no Ganas earlier on today, and now they finally stamped their ticket to the playoffs by taking at least one map off of Enzonic. So both them and Panas no Ganas are going to be advancing past this group. Enzonics, unfortunately, are guaranteed 3rd place at this point, but they do still have Pride to play for. You'd still 4-1 is a lot more easy to luck at than 3-2. So for the rest of this match, we're gonna flip it over to a quick break. Don't go anywhere because the conclusion of this matchup is coming soon.
So handsome, oh, you have your way, and it's making me weaken. You and your stardust, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do, and no one try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind. You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I try to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. No one makes me feel like you do, and no one sets my body on fire, and no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. And no one makes me feel like you do, and no one sets my body on fire, no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it Oh, no one does it
One more wine, one more whiskey, and we just kept the car in park and dim the headlights so we see the stars. Let them tell us where we should start. And I'm scared as hell because there's no way to know how this goes, but I can't help but say I promise to give you my all, but it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down, but it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me.
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speedy's gonna be
Oh,
able to follow
no.
up. Talk
You
about
let
jumping
him
over to the
do.
Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, they just got eviscerated.
He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the build, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now. This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them.
Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Hebot going absolutely massive.
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are ready to head into this excellent matchup between Enzonics and Unplugged. The maps are tied at 1 apiece right now, and next we will be headed to Rialto.
Yes, Rialto. This, I think, is a fantastic map pick here from Enzonics. They seem to be really into playing those Reinhardt comps, those close range with the Cassidy and the Sombra, and other than that one iffy spot where you've got to cross the bridge on point B, this is a fantastic map for those kinds of things. Rialto is built a lot like King's Row, where there's a lot of really tight corridors with buildings on either side and a lot of 90-degree turns. Those short-range compositions excel in those circumstances.
They certainly do, but you're right. They're going to have to get through a couple of long and relatively open positions on point B and A as well. That kind of courtyard in the middle there lends itself to a lot of long-distance characters.
Yeah, it does. And that's the big thing that Unplugged is going to have to do here. We haven't really seen them go off of that composition yet. We've seen the Reinhardt, we've seen the Cassidy, we've seen the Sombra. And yeah, there's so much ground for you to cover, while a more long-range favored team like Unplugged is able to just get free pot shots off you while you try and cross the Rialto bridge. So we've got to see an answer here from Enzonics. Either they just play really tightly around that Rhine shield so no one gets picked off during that fight, or they change compositions up a little bit to try and counter that.
Yeah, that's true, and either one could work for them. Really, it's just up to them to decide which is gonna yield better results. As we start to load in, we're taking a brief trip down the canals here of Rialto, as we're going to get a sneak peek into what these teams are planning on running out with. Unplugged on the defense, and another anti-dive composition coming out. I like this look from them.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think they know that Enzonics is going to want to play fast, whether or not they go with that Reinhardt composition. So going with these comps, the Orisa to keep everyone secured, Condi on the Torb to keep any flankers out of range, and then enough on the Cassidy. Absolutely showed their stuff on this fight. Has just been a menace on all hit-scan characters over the 2 games we've seen them.
That is very true. We're going to see a double bubble coming out. Oh, nope, never mind. Enzonics goes over to a classic dive at the last moment. Karengorm this time on the Ana. I'll be curious to see how they play on this hero. A little bit of damage coming in now from the high ground. Both Phage and A doing a lot of work right there. Enzonics gets a peek at what they're running out on, and they opt to go away from the Winston now and over to the Wrecking Ball instead. Denial also on the Echo. They're going, like we were saying, for this kind of long-range poke now, which is going to work well for them on these first 2 points. Nice body shot comes in to finish off enough. And with that, Enzonics has a nice push starting for them.
Yeah, not only do you get rid of the main damage dealer in enough, but you also get rid of the main person that can easily deal with denial on this Echo. Now he's able to fly around without that much pressure coming up from any long-range hit scans from the side of Unplugged. However, Unplugged are doing a great job of playing around this corner, making it really difficult for any member of Enzonics to get much purchase.
Yeah, they certainly are. They seem to have kind of stalled at the moment. Unplugged. I like this shield from Phage as well underneath that. Yeah, underneath that high ground right there. Roll coming in as well. Halt briefly detains Denial, but they're able to fly away from it without too much trouble. Kaneo going down very low though on this map piece. They are able to get some heals presumably from Gavi there at the last moment. Transcendence now committed by Karen, but in the meantime, that amplification matrix takes Metis out of the fight. Denial goes down as well, and Unplugged may have another nice hold coming out here.
Yeah, this is a really nice here from Enzonics. From Unplugged. They have read the Enzonics playbook, apparently, and just know exactly what to do to go against it. it's crazy because Enzonix has never played this comp so far in this matchup. Even so, they go for an anti-dive comp, and it has worked perfectly. And Enzonix really hasn't done a ton to try and counter it. We have Denial on the Tracer now, but is still going to have to deal with the turret from Condi if he ever wants to go to the back. And Matus is on the Wrecking Ball, but that doesn't do a ton to try and dislodge Phage from this crazy Evil Toaster-esque position, as it's just completely protected on all sides. And,
oh my gosh.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Metis loses their footing, unfortunately, there at the beginning of that fight, and that's gonna be pretty tough for them to come back from, although they do get a pick onto Conde, so without that turret now, Denial and Metis are gonna have a lot easier time pushing in. We see the rally now committed by Gavi to try and keep members of Unplugged up as Condi gets back into the fight. High Ground now firmly under the control of Enzonix. Here comes a Dragon Strike slammed onto the Bongos as well. That Supercharger going down very low, and now with the Minefield as well, it's going to be removed. Enzonix, though, unable to get the picks that they really need as their support line has been destroyed. And once again, Unplugged going to come out with a nice hold.
And that was a very expensive fight from Enzonix. They used almost everything that they had in their toolbox to try and push around this corner. They just can't do it. The frontline pressure from Phage and everyone else further back, it has been a perfect setup here from Enzonix, from Unplugged right now. Cairngorm has the Transcendence, and Spreezy will have the rally soon, but that's all Enzonix has.
Yeah, now Enzonix, though, does have an opportunity as Denial wins out the Tracer duel. Condi, though, has the Molten Core ready to go. Overtime has been triggered at this point. It's going to be really tough, though, for Enzonix to try and find any purchase on point. Karen has the Transcendence. They're going to use it, though. And after this, Condi's going to probably pop that Molten Core. Here it comes right on the point. As we see a couple of members of Unplugged go down, though, this is an opportunity for Enzonix to come in. The Pulse Bomb gets eaten as well from Enough. But Condi does find a pick onto Denial with that Molten Core. The D-Mech comes in, though, onto David Enzo. Condi has the picks they need, and with that, Unplugged holds very close to the spawn.
I mean, that's about as good as it gets from Unplugged. They were able to perfectly counter from the very start what Enzonix wanted to play in that match. And Enzonix made very minimal changes. Every time they made a swap, they reset ult charge. Unplugged, I don't know if they made a swap the whole time. Like, they had the perfect counter to Enzonix's attack. It worked out beautifully for them. And now they are 63.5 meters away from taking the lead in this series. What a map from them.
Yeah, this has just been a tremendous showing from Unplugged so far. And on the back of some great play when they were up against San Panos as well.
This was Enzonix's map pick as well. I do want to point that out.
That's a good point too, and that's, the amount of time that they've been playing, that has to wear on you at some point, but they are showing no signs of slowing down right now. Got a dive defense coming out from Enzonix, and not going to be a ton of sustain here, but they're going to be looking to build this nano boost up, I think, fairly quickly. Mizuno going to be on the sky with Echo, but without a Mercy Pocket. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to be able to get quite a bit of damage out with your primary fires with those sticky bombs, but having the Mercy with you will make you all the more lethal. Enzonix instead is going to go for a more all-around strategy with Cairngorm on the Ana, Freezy on the Brig, so going to keep everyone as healthy as possible, which makes sense. You got to play defensive here, because if you give up this corner, you give up the map.
That's very true, and they're going to give up a lot of space as well. They have to win every single fight from here on out to stay in this map. Metis has to use their shield early on, enough trying to find a Denial on that Tracer. Shield has now been taken out, but Aid has been demeched in the meantime, so things starting out well for Enzonix. That is until Denial gets taken out of the fight. If Aid can get back in their mech before they're taken out, they're unable to. Enzonix coming up with a nice first hold here. This is what they needed to do. They burned off about a minute from the clock as well.
The cart has snuck forward in that time frame, though. Look, it's around the corner. It is around the corner, and that gives Unplugged just a little bit more room to work with here. They don't have to be blocked by that cart as they try and get around here. That puts all the more pressure onto Enzonix. You got to make sure that you don't keep your eyes take your eyes off that cart.
Exactly. They have to stay firmly focused on it. Here comes a high noon from Enough. Is it going to be enough to get them through this point? They do find Metis Euro. So that is a huge pick. Without that ability to start to dive in, it's going to make things a lot tougher. But Unplugged coming in with a couple of more picks. Here comes the self-destruct as well from David Enzo. It's not going to find anything. And with that, Unplugged takes their second map.
I mean, that was just strong team execution from Unplugged. They understood how to counter Enzonix from the very start of the map. On their map pick, I do have to say as well.
Yeah, that's true.
They won from Hero Select, and they played that composition to perfection. Because you can't, I mean, you have to play it well still in order to win. So, Unplugged played extremely well, and now is a clean win on Rialto.
Yeah, it really was a clean win on Rialto. And now that we're headed into map 4, we're going to an assault pick. So, I'll be curious to see where Enzonix decides is going to be best for them. We saw how powerful this team was, this Unplugged team on Hanamura. So I'd be surprised if they go to that pick. Let's take a look though at this Brigida matchup between Sir Freezy and Gavi.
Yeah, look at that. Almost identical in damage done. And I mean, I guess it makes sense when Freezy's team is taking more damage, that you end up doing a little bit more healing. But those defensive assists from Gavi is massive. That is 17-10, which means that Gavi is basically saving people from death and using those packs on the dives to help his team push through in so many situations. I think that's the big thing here, those defensive assists.
I think you're absolutely right, and I wonder if that's also, the Inspire that was procced as well. If they're able to get a shield bash on a diving Wrecking Ball or something, that can really, do a lot for your backline if they're running into trouble. So, yeah, I think that's really the takeaway from here, because, I mean, look at that. Less than 10 difference in the damage done. That's kind of extraordinary right there.
It is extraordinary. And yeah, I think you're right. I think Rally is really, really good. The Inspire was really good. I think a really good stat to have here would just be how often was Inspire procced? How many times was it procced? But I do think that's where a lot of those defensive assists came from. So great stuff there from Gavi, helping Unplugged get themselves to match point. Unplugged, one map away, by the way, from an undefeated record in this group. That would be massive going into the playoffs.
That would be such a confidence booster. And we were going to be headed once more to a snowy locale. We are going to Volskaya Industries. And this'll be interesting. Lots of different compositions that you can run, but crucially on defense, I think you can run double shield, and I think that could be a very good look for Unplugged on defense.
I mean, the Orisa compositions was so good for them on Rialto. I don't know why you don't just keep it going here, especially since you are, again, starting on the defense. If you could pull off another full hold here, I mean, all the wind would just be out of Enzonix's sails. Now, up against the wall here, you've got to get something done with this attack, or else the match is basically over. I mean, it would take an insane amount of resolve for Enzonix after a subpar attack to be able to push through and get a good defense. You never know. But
it's true. It could happen. Yeah. Unplugged opting instead for this Wrecking Ball defense, and you know me, I'm a fan whenever Wrecking Ball comes out, so I'm excited to see it, but I'm not sure that this is the ideal composition for them. I really liked that counter dive look that they had on Rialto, but you know what? There's a reason they're playing and I'm casting, so I'm gonna trust them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Soldier Torb, that's an inspirational DPS line, Unplugged, forming the meta as we speak.
Yes,
But I'm
exactly.
going to be looking at, on a serious note, Phage and Canale, the Discord orbs onto the dives have been on point whenever this combo has come together.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge going into the 6-man rush from Enzonix.
Yeah, this rush coming in very quickly, but Mazzino already taken out of the fight. Kandi's turret finding the kill that it needs to. So, despite this very quick push coming out from Enzonix, they're up a creek without a paddle, as it were. Gonna see a little bit of resistance being put up on the other side by A, but they're gonna drop down very quickly. They're gonna try and chase this Tracer out, but they're gonna go low, but unable to get the final blow onto them. Phage forced to roll away now and give that high ground firmly over to Enzonix. They're now looking to try and scope out that Sombra. The pile driver mitigated by that shield coming in from Metis, but there's not going to be much coming from this first push, and a minute burned off the clock as well.
These are two teams that really want to play fast and force the tempo, and as of right now, it is Unplugged that is setting the tempo here. Enzonix are trying their best to use those Lucio speed boosts and engage on a member, but Unplugged are so good at just kiting out of the way and then re-engaging after Enzonix has used all those resources. Now, 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Phage has been hacked and gets taken down. That was nice from Mazzino.
Yeah, that is exactly what they needed to happen. Denial has to use the pulse bomb as well to take out that wrecking ball, but it's all going to be worth it. Phage has respawned, so they're going to be back in the fight, but crucially, a little bit late to the party as Gabi goes down as well, and Enzonix has an opportunity here. David Enzo has been demeched, though, from Enzonix, so that's unfortunate for them. Karen pops this Coalescence as well to try and push into this Unplugged squad, but they're able to kite away from it, and crucially, Kandi has this Molten Core ready to go. Enough has the sights as well, they're going to pop them. And with both these DPS ults online, there's not really much that Enzonix can do. They're able to get one and a quarter tick on the board, though, so that's they do have something to say for their efforts.
You have something, but it really did feel like that was the big chance there for Enzonix. Yeah. You got the hack, you got the kill onto the main tank, but they just couldn't move fast enough to extend that. And again, Unplugged, they're so good. This happened against in their first game as well, where it seems like they're losing a fight, but they managed to stay alive and sustain until the respawns come in. This is where this team excels, but now they have to play into 4 ultimates from Enzonix, including the EMP.
Yeah, this EMP is going to have to be absolutely brutal if they're going to hope to take this point. Minute 10 left on the clock. But still, they haven't found an opportunity to use that EMP. It comes in, but it only catches one. Both support ults were committed, though, and that feels like a mistake coming in from Unplugged. So Enzonix, as soon as these ultimates go down, they're going to have an opportunity to push in, but they've just got this Primal Rage, which isn't necessarily an ultimate that gets picked. Phage going down very low. They're forced to try and stay on point to try and keep their health up. Metis, though, goes down. Denial out of the fight as well, and with that, this last push coming in from Enzonix looks like it's over. The Coalescence is committed, though, by Cairn. And once again, I feel like that has to be a misplay.
Yeah, it was maybe used at a point where it's possible you could have pulled the fight back out, but it was still a little too late from Karen Gorm. And now Enzonix, they have nothing except the beat from Freezy. They're not even close to any other ultimates. It has to be the best beat of all time to help engage into the self-destruct, into the Molten Core, into the visor.
And here comes that sound barrier. This is their last-ditch effort here. The Molten Core, though, committed now as that sound barrier is starting to expire. The Discord Orb on that Lucio as well is going to make things very difficult for them. Karen Gorm is able to get a pick on the Phage, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stymie the bleeding. And with overtime ticking over, that's going to do it. The bar has been set. Unplugged knows how far they have to go to get this win.
Yeah. And this is just tough from Enzonix now. I mean, after getting full held on Rialto and then full held on Volskaya, even Overwatch League teams, I think, would be having some pretty bad mental at this point. It is extremely, it's still winnable. They got a tick. They got a tick. But it would be an incredible show of resolve and mental strength here from Enzonix to pull it out here.
Yeah, it certainly would, but we've seen crazier things happen. I mean, we had the reverse sweep last time around, so it is certainly in the realm of possibility. And Zonix going to opt for a dive defense as well. They're keeping Mazzino on this Sombra, and I think that is such a good choice because of how much Wrecking Ball we've seen come out from Phage.
Attackers incoming. 30 seconds.
It is really good. So Enzonix, their series lives is going to come down to this composition.
Right.
It is a good composition. I like how it's a little more. It's a lot faster. You get to play the dive tanks with the Sombra, with the Tracer. It's a lot of what has given them success so far in this game. Unplugged, though, are just going to look to bash their faces into them with Phage on the Reinhardt until eventually something gives. The Lucio is no Lucio on Unplugged side is interesting, so that means they're forced to play a little bit slower, and just sort of take poke damage here as they try and go around the point.
Yeah, this is a very interesting backline from Unplugged, considering what their front line is. Karen Gorm already taken out from Kanile, though, so things going well for Unplugged already. There's got this high ground positioning as well. They've got presence on point too. They've got Enzonix pushed back into this corner. Discord Orb onto the Diva as well. That's going to make it very hard for David Enzo to stay in mech, and in fact, they are going to be removed from it. One tick almost on the board already for Unplugged. Can they turn it into another? David Enzo taken out of the fight as well. One tick is now confirmed. They've got to try and stay on for dear life, but that's proving hard to do right now as Metis is taken out of the fight as well. Aid, though, a pick onto them. That's significant, but the percentage is getting dangerously close to victory, and with Denial out of the fight, things are starting to fall apart at the seams for Enzonix. Surfreezy out of the fight, and that's gonna just about do it. Your perfect record winning Unplugged team comes up victorious.
And again, it was such a good, well-executed map overall from Unplugged. So impressive from them all across the board today as they finished the perfect run and will exit the Iberian region group stage in first place, which means they also in the quarterfinals get to avoid all of the first seeds in the other regions for the quarterfinals. So that puts you in a pretty good position.
Yeah, exactly. And now with the first place positioning, they're not gonna have to go up against the first place team in the other divisions, like you were saying. So this is just tremendous. Let's take a look at enough stats on Soldier for this last map, because they were certainly doing a lot of work on the legs.
40% weapon accuracy is crazy.
Yeah, that certainly is on
10%
on that weapon.
10% crit accuracy on Soldier too, almost. Like, that's tough to do.
Yeah, that is 17 elims, 7 final blows, and you know that's a lot considering this wasn't a very long map. You have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, an incredible showing from Enough and the entirety of Unplugged today. They will move on in the playoffs in the first seed after some incredible plays from them. And then of course we have to give a shout out to the other team who played Unchanged so closely in the game before this. Panas no ganas will also be moving on to the playoffs.
Yes,
and they are no joke as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a very exciting playoffs, I think. I am really looking forward to it. What a showing from all of the teams, though, today. This was a very exciting day of Overwatch for OWEX as well.
Extremely exciting, and it's not quite over yet. We are done here for the weekend, but there is still another weekend of qualifying play ahead of us. The next OWEX stream will be next Friday, and then the weekend after that is playoffs time. It's only going to get more exciting from here.
That is true. It certainly is. And I want to send a quick thank you as well to our production team. We've got such a fantastic team behind us. Donick, Gary, Once, Plushcap, DeLucas. Thank you so much for keeping us going in the casting booth. Thank you all to everybody who tuned in today as well. Really appreciate you coming out to watch. And yeah, before we close out, just wanted to remind you, follow us on social media as well, right below. You can find us on Twitter. And before we close out, any final words from you, Dividing?
Now, it's just an incredible day of games. Congrats once again to Unplugged and ganas, because they are two teams to fear in the playoffs.
That they are. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to come back and check us out next weekend for more fantastic Overwatch European Expanse action. But for us, that's going to do it today. My name is Warren Jungle God Hammond, joined on the mic by Dividing. GG's, and see you next time.
Bye.